right, good evening, everyone, and welcome back inside the Macon Centreplex for the fourth straight time. Tonight, you're Macon Mayhem and a home stretch of 4 games. They are hoping they can take 6 points of a possible 8 to start their season. If they can pull that off, then this would be, by all means, a successful homestand to start the 2019-20 regular season. Standing in their way, however, the 2019 President's Cup runners-up, the Birmingham Bulls, a very formidable opponent. Just like the Mayhem, they took 3 points out of 4 on their opening weekend. They were defeated in overtime by the Huntsville Havoc and Pelham on their opening night and responded the following day with a 4-2 win over the much-improved Evansville Thunderbolts 1 week ago. That is the last time these guys played. They've had an entire week off, which is rare this time of the year, and the visitors will be looking to use that rest to their advantage. The Mayhem will be looking to take advantage of a team that is not only not suited up for a week, but also one that traveled today. Bus legs, as we all know, can be difficult to overcome, especially in the first period of play, the likes of which the Mayhem have not necessarily been great in to start the season. They're going to be looking to change that tonight. The Mayhem have got to get off to a strong start. There's no doubt about that, and they've managed to secure a point in all 3 games up to this point in the season, despite last night's disappointing defeat in the shootout. But hey, a point is a point, and Stathis Sumalidas coming up big with a goal in the final 3.6 seconds to tie the game with an electrifying goal. Got the Mayhem at least a consolation point in the standings, and they did not slip up one bit in the SPHL leaderboards in spite of the loss. Still sitting firmly tied for second place in the league. A win tonight could potentially launch the Mayhem into first place, which is something that even this early would bode extremely well for the team going forward. Let's take a look at our 3 keys of tonight's game before we begin with starting lineups and much more. First off, continue the diligent work on the penalty kill. The Mayhem sensational while shorthanded yesterday, particularly in the offensive zone. They generated more scoring opportunities oftentimes than their opponents Roanoke did when the Rail Yard Dogs had power plays, which anytime you can spend the majority of an opponent's power play in their zone, I'd say that's a pretty darn good effort on the PK. So the Mayhem doing a good job. They did concede 1 power play goal. To be fair to them, it was in with 14 seconds remaining, so they really killed off almost that entire power play. Just a tough one to swallow. CJ Stubbs getting the go-ahead goal in the third period off a rebound off of Alex Fatinos' stick, and he just buried it from the left circle. And that goal put the Rail Yard Dogs in front by a tally. The Mayhem were able to roar back in the closing seconds and tie the game up with in the final 3.6. The most clutch goal of the season so far by the Mayhem. Stathis Sumalidas doing the honors with less than 4 seconds to tie things up. So continuing the good penalty killing, that is key number 1. Number 2, containing J.M. Piotrowski. He's somebody who has already seemingly had the Mayhem's number, even though they've only played in 1 game against them. It was in the preseason. He had a pair of points in that tilt, and not only that, but he's been hot lately. He's had 11 shots on goal last weekend between Friday and Saturday night, had a goal in each of his first 2 pro games. And the Yale University grad is going to be looking to keep his goal-scoring streak going against the Mayhem. So containing Piotrowski and his line will be paramount this evening. And finally, taking advantage of the rust in the bus legs. We alluded to it earlier in the pregame show here. The Bulls have not played a game in a week. They were off last night. The Mayhem were not. And a few weeks ago when the Mayhem went up to Birmingham for the preseason exhibition, it was the exact opposite scenario. Birmingham had played the night before. Macon had not. They went up to Birmingham, and the Bulls really took care of the Mayhem in the preseason. Obviously, that's you can't really compare what happened to the preseason to the matchup now because the roster was heavily overturned by Leo Thomas. A new slate of forwards and defensemen, and goaltenders, a new generation of talent here on the horizon in Macon. We'll be looking to take this team back to the promised land this season. Got off to the right start, taking 4 points out of their first 6. Not too shabby. And against the President's Cup runners-up, if they can take points 5 and 6, then by all accounts that would be a successful start to their 5th anniversary season here in Macon. Taking a look at a few players who are hot for the Mayhem. Stephen Pirog, he's had 4 assists in the last 2 games, 2 on each night. He was the first star of the game 1 week ago when the Mayhem bested the defending champs, the Huntsville Havoc, by a 2-1 final. Pirog assisted on both of those goals. did the Mayhem captain, and yesterday had an assist that did not get credited, but the Stathis Sumalitis goal in the closing seconds, Pirog redirected the point shot coming off the stick of Zach Urban, so he will get credit for that assist come Monday or Tuesday of next week. But Pirog, somebody who's been red hot for the Mayhem. Secondly, Daniel Perez. He made his Mayhem debut yesterday, sporting the number 40. He will be back in the lineup tonight, and why not? The University of Maine graduate had an outstanding first game with the Mayhem, and he proved that last season his 4 games played up in Greenville in the ECHL were no fluke. In those 4 games, right after his college career ended, he got a taste of the professional landscape while with the Greenville Swamp Rabbits, scored 5 points, 3 goals and 2 assists, and is on pace to even doing better than that here with the Mayhem after 1 game. So Daniel Perez is somebody that Jamie Hicks and company are going to have to watch with a vigilant eye tonight. And finally, Marcus Ortiz, who's got a point in every game this season for the Mayhem, leads the team right now with 3 points on the season. Of course, well, if you don't count Pirog's assist, which was not credited to him, but that will be credited to him. So technically, Ortiz second on the Mayhem in scoring with 3 points. But he's got a pair of goals, which leads all Mayhem players. And like we said, has scored at least a point in every game this season. Pirog, Perez, Ortiz, the players to watch tonight if you're Jamie Hicks. If you're Leo Thomas, the players you're going to want to watch out for tonight are as follows. J.M. Piotrowski, we talked about him earlier. 2 goals, 1 in each of his first 2 games this season. Had a pair of points against the Mayhem during the preseason and had a team-high 11 shots on goal last weekend between Friday and Saturday night. Secondly, Josh Harris, number 24 for Birmingham. He led the Bulls with 63 points last season, 25 goals, 38 assists. Always a threat when he's got the puck on his stick, number 24 in the white sweaters tonight. And finally, Austin Doe scored a hat trick in Macon back on January 12th, which ironically, that was 90s night. The Mayhem were wearing Simpsons-themed jerseys, and a guy named Doe scores all of Birmingham's goals. So it was some unfortunate irony that struck the Mayhem last season, but they'll be looking to contain Doe here this evening, number 17 in white. Those are your players to watch for both sides. Tonight's game will be under the control of Cody Helbig, the referee. And the linesmen are Mitchell Hunt and Daniel Fendius. Last night, Nolan Bloyer did an excellent job officiating the game. But tonight we've got a new referee and 1 new linesman. Daniel Fendius remains the same, the new linesman being Mitchell Hunt. This is the 4th game of the 2019-20 regular season. The Mayhem hoping to improve to 2-0-2. The Bulls hoping to improve to 2-0-1. Both teams had an identical opening weekend in terms of the standings, each taking 3 points out of 4. The Mayhem now at 4 points out of 6 after last night's shootout loss. We talked about it in the pregame report, folks, in case you weren't able to read it on Mayhem's social media or on the Mayhem website. Here's what we talked about. The overtime curse that has plagued the Mayhem for several years now. In games that have lasted longer than 60 minutes, the Mayhem have lost 8 consecutive, which dates all the way back to April of 2017. So, overtime and shootouts, neither of them have really been the Mayhem's cup of tea. So obviously tonight, if possible, they would like to defeat the President's Cup runners-up in regulation time and not require overtime. However, I know it's something that Coach Leo Thomas has certainly made note of and will be looking to improve going forward. Birmingham starting lineups were just announced by our public address announcer tonight, Dana Barker, who has stepped in for John Reagan. John Reagan did a good job as the PA announcer last night. Of course, he is not normally our PA announcer, so I think with all things considered, he did a good job subbing in. Of course, Charles Olson, who normally does it, he's running for mayor here in Macon. And then Dana Barker, the old Columbus Cottonmouths public address announcer, was not able to make it last night either, but we're thankful that he's here tonight so that John Reagan can focus on his DJ duties. The Mayhem starting lineup will be announced in much more emphatic fashion in a few moments. But let's take a look at Birmingham starters. In net, Art Bray. He's played all 120-plus minutes so far this season for the Birmingham Bulls. He won one, lost the other in overtime, lost the home opener at the hands of the Huntsville Havoc, but he's pitched pretty darn good numbers so far. A 2.47 goals against average through 2 games played and a .929 save percentage. Did not concede a goal in the preseason matchup against Macon. Matt Fuller on defense, along with Mike Krokock. Up front, Cole Golka, Shaquille Morasti, and Connor Piper. The beloved mascot here in Macon, Mac, ferociously slamming his stick along the near sideboards, alongside the penalty boxes, and now along the half wall in the Birmingham zone, getting this Saturday night crowd fired up for some Mayhem hockey. Oleg Kalaman gets the nod to start on defense tonight for Leo Thomas. Kalaman, a tall, lanky Russian with an excellent defensive stick and a hard shot, very mobile for his size. Zach Urban will be lining up alongside him, also a pretty big boy, also standing at 6'3", the veteran blue liner. Another veteran, Josh Cousineau, now in his 6th SPHL season, the former Pensacola Ice Flyers captain, will be centering Macon's starting line tonight. And Sean Lynch, who did not dress yesterday, going to get the opportunity to play tonight. Be playing alongside a veteran center in Josh Cousineau. Lynch, the Utica College standout, in his first full season in Macon, his first full pro campaign. Danny Caesar will be on his right flank to start things out, the Redford, Michigan native. And now Kevin Etma, who gets a raucous round of applause here at the Macon Centreplex. Also did not play yesterday, but in the games he has played so far this season, he's been dynamite. A goals against average of just 1.95 and a save percentage of .939. Kevin Etma has been about as close to a brick wall as they come in net for the Mayhem, and he's going to need to have another strong performance tonight for the Mayhem to knock off the Birmingham Bulls. Alex Fatinos in his professional debut yesterday stopped 24 of a possible 27 shots. He also made 4 saves out of 5 in the shootout. All things considered, a very strong debut for Fatinos, but tonight he will hand the goaltending duties over to Kevin Etma. The singing of our country's national anthem is next, folks. Keep it right here. Was Karen Shelley on tonight's national anthem, and what a job she did. Opening face-off just moments away here at the Macon Centreplex. The Mayhem playing their 4th game of the season, the Bulls playing their 3rd. This is the last in a slate of 4 consecutive home games to start out the season for the Mayhem. In those first 3 games, they took 4 points out of 6. They won 1, but dropped the other 2 in extra time, meaning they got a point from each of them. So all things considered, a pretty good start for the Mayhem, who it's essentially the same thing as winning 2 out of 3 if you drop the 3rd in regulation. So the Mayhem like the spot they're in now. They can put themselves in an even better position with a victory tonight against the highly touted Birmingham Bulls. The Bulls ended the season second in the SPHL last year. The only team that was able to knock them off in the postseason, the eventual champions, the Huntsville Havoc. Remember, folks, getting off to a good start is key tonight for the Mayhem, who have not been able to score a first period goal in either Friday game so far. They would love to do that tonight against a team that's undoubtedly going to have at least some bus legs for the first 5 minutes or so in this game. So really can't emphasize enough the importance of the first few shifts in this game. Josh Kuzno will take the opening face-off. He's going to be countered by Cannon Piper, who's got an assist through the first 2 games of the season. Leads the Birmingham Bulls with 8 penalty minutes. The referee again for tonight's game is Cody Helbig. The linesmen are Mitchell Hunt and Daniel Fendius. The Mayhem hoping to end their homestand on a good note before they head up to Peoria next weekend in Central Illinois to take on the former Coffee Cup champion Peoria Rivermen. Cody Helbig is good to go. The timekeeper's good to go. We are good to go here at the Macon Centreplex. The 4th game of the 2019-20 season now underway. Josh Kuzno with a clean win on the draw. And Kellerman sent it over to Urban, who kicked it out into the neutral zone as it's accelerated further from there and played in the far corner by Shaquille Marasti, making his debut tonight. And looks like the door leading to the Mayhem tunnel came loose after that collision, so we get a whistle and a stoppage of play. We'll call that a fortuitous break for the Mayhem, who will now get an offensive zone face-off to follow. 13 seconds have gone by. The Mayhem will take the draw to the left of Art Bray. So strange not seeing Maverick Parks in goal for Birmingham. The reigning SPHL goaltender of the year, no longer with Jamie Hicks and company, but the Bulls still looking very strong in net to start the season. Mike Krokock from the neutral zone puts it over the blue line, a slap shot from there. Cole Golka misfired, missed the left elbow of the net. Matt Fuller is able to salvage possession near the blue line, strides in, slides it to his left for a wrist shot off target by Piper. Rattles to the near half wall. It's played by Cole Golka. He will center it out in front, whacked at the net out of midair, lacrosse style, and Entma makes the save. The Bulls threatening from in behind the net. Puck's been whacked high up in the air and corralled by Shaquille Marasti, who will regroup in the neutral zone and blast it in from there. It pinballs off of the skates of Oleg Kalaman. Urban banks one ahead. He finds Pirog, who redirects it below the Birmingham goal line. Now it's scooped up by Artem Kurbatov. He turns it over. Kurbatov, a native of Georgia, the country of Georgia, not the state. First player who I've ever seen in 5 years broadcasting from the nation of Georgia. Jared Cupp has it at his own blue line. He slips one ahead, too far outside of the reach of Steven Pirog. It's now played by Sumalitis, left half wall. Sumalitis centers it out in front, pinballs on goal awkwardly. Pirog digging for the rebound, but it's under Art Bray, who does a snow angel to cover the puck up in the blue paint. And we will get a whistle. Art Bray's first save of this game was a dandy. Pirog was unable to jam the rebound past him. Stathis Sumalitis, the man centering it for Pirog in that situation, and it's a new look on that Mayhem top line. Darius Davidson is one of tonight's healthy scratches, and Daniel Perez has taken over on that right wing position. A left-handed shot playing right wing is always interesting. Got to have a lot of skill to be able to pull that off. At the NHL level, really the only players you see who play their off wing are those who possess supreme skill. From the right point, it's fired towards the net by Carl Drahorid. It gets blocked, and now it's rescued by J.M. Piotrowski, who turns it over right to the stick of Jarrett Cupp, and he will gain the red line and deposit it in behind the Birmingham net. Going after it, Lane Valamont, who sustains a check from Marcus Ortiz. Held alive by Soper from the blue line, redirected by Ortiz. Loose puck in the blue paint. They scramble away at the puck. It's still loose and flung out towards Soper. Left circle. Play continues. Soper sends it into the slot. It's picked off, and here come the Bulls on a counterattack. It's skated down the right wing side and backhanded on net there by Tony Lampo, denied by Entma, who will just leave it for Jimmy Soper. A couple of close calls for the Mayhem. Art Bray, not sure, I don't want to say he's looked shaky, but there have been a few situations in which a shaky save was made in the Birmingham crease. Now the puck is collected in the neutral zone by Mike Krokock. Good shutdown defenseman for Jamie Hicks and the Bulls. He slides it off the back skates of Larry Smith. It pinballs off the backboards, and it's Davis now twisting it to Barber. who settles it down and flings it back to the line. Fuller tees up a slap shot, and a drive is stopped by the pads of Kevin Etma, who hangs on to it. Strong rebound control by the Adrian College grad. Kevin Etma making the stop with his left pad and not allowing that rebound to rocket off of his equipment right to a Birmingham stick. Less than 3 minutes have expired. We've got 17-14 showing on the clock. The Mayhem, the Bulls, still tied up in a scoreless stalemate here at the Macon Centreplex. Birmingham's top guns are taking a seat. Josh Harris, Jacob Barber, Mike Davis, all to the bench. All Birmingham veterans, all high-scoring Birmingham veterans at that. So the ensuing faceoff will take place to Etma's right, his blocker side. Now from the right point, Mike Krokock will just rattle it in behind the net. Steven Pirog ends up with it, and the Mayhem captain twists in the far corner. He's able to work it ahead for Kalaman. It flutters up in the air and lands, it looks like, out of play, and we get another whistle stopping play. Oleg Kalaman, native of Vorkuta, Russia, the other side of the world from further away than anybody on the Mayhem roster. Won a national go-karting championship back home a few years ago. Really big into go-karting and exotic cars. Dream is to own a muscle car one day. Far corner, it's Connor Piper twisting with it. He's able to work it up towards the far point and drops it off and gets a quick return pass in the high slot, fires a wrister, blocked. Second shot stopped by Etma. Far corner, it's Daniel Perez scooping it up, and he will guide one ahead. It floats over Sumalides' blade. He got a second chance. It also jumped over his stick, and Sumalides not with puck luck for the last shift here, but he continues the pressure in the offensive zone, forcing an errant pass. The Mayhem able to take over as a result, as Danny Caesar will skate ahead with it. He negotiates his way over the Birmingham blue line and drops it off to Pirog, whose shot is handled by Art Bray. Art Bray, a graduate of St. Lawrence University, playing his first season in the SPHL, and he's gotten off to a pretty darn good start, the Birmingham goaltender. A 2.47 goals against average and a .929 save percentage. Kevin Etma has had a slight edge over him in that category, but not by much. They've both had spectacular starts to their years. Jarrett Cupp handles the loose puck in behind his own net. He takes a big check, no penalty forthcoming. And Cody Helbig keeps his arm down still. It's fired in behind the net near the far corner. Rennie Hunter able to outmuscle Josh LaFrance for possession, but a point-blank shot denied by Etma. Makes a second save with his pads and then punches the loose puck out toward the half wall. The Mayhem will skate it out to center ice. Josh Keplinger racing down the left wing side. Doesn't have much help in the means of reinforcements, as his teammates were in the midst of a line change. As a result, the Bulls able to outnumber him and take possession back, but the Mayhem reorganizing now in the neutral zone. Larry Smith, DDD pass, Nick Minerva's got it. He flutters one ahead. Caleb Cameron mishandles it. He's poking and prying away at it against Casey Kolzicki. The Mayhem come in 2-on-1. They center it over. Ortiz scores! Marcus Ortiz, with his fourth point in as many games, has opened the scoring for the Mayhem. It's 1-0 Macon. Jimmy Soper, if I'm not mistaken, will get the primary assist. Marcus Ortiz with his team-leading third goal on the campaign already. What a start to the year for number 14 in blue. Puck's been dumped into the Macon zone from center ice by the Birmingham Bulls. Minerva goes in behind his own goal line to play it. Soper on the primary assist. There was no secondary. Minerva's shot misfires. Loose puck right in front. Hacked towards the goal. Blocked by Harris, who scoops it up and settles things down. And Harris feeds one ahead. Good body check along the far half wall in front of the benches. Larry Smith's got it. Quickly slides it to Nick Minerva. Smith will get it right back from him. Larry Smith. And we've got a fight breaking out in front of the benches. Stathis Sumalides, who fought last week, is going to go again. He squares him up with Mike Krokock of Birmingham. Drives in a few rights on Krokock. Krokock trying to respond. I beg your pardon, that's Shaquille Marasti playing in his first game of the season. He's able to take Sumalides down. Simulita's lost an edge there in that scrap with Morasti. Stick taps on both sides all around as the Mayhem's alternate captain getting into his second fight in as many weeks. Morasti making his Birmingham debut tonight. Wasted no time. Building up some energy for his team. And for him, from his point of view, it's certainly a good time to fight. The Bulls had just given up the opening goal. We're headed to a media timeout. He's trying to wake his boys up. He knows about the bus legs effect. The Mayhem were able to take advantage, just like we mentioned in the pregame show, how important it was to score the first goal and to have the superior first period. So far, the Mayhem have done that, but the game and the period both still early. We're only a quarter of the way through period one. 5 minutes and 15 seconds had surpassed. The Mayhem with a 1-0 advantage, courtesy of a goal scored by Marcus Ortiz, his third on the season already. Marcus Ortiz, a Dallas native, compared Macon in many ways to his hometown. As a result, he's able to bond with fans down here in ways that many others can't. Of course, the majority of these players for the Mayhem are from north of the Mason-Dixon line. Marcus Ortiz, the only exception. And at least has that much in common with the people of Macon. Loves playing here, and the proof is in the pudding. Has been a point-per-game player. Spectacular start to the season for Marcus Ortiz. So Oleg Kalaman receives the puck at his own blue line. He flops one ahead. It's been chiseled further by Keplinger. In on the forecheck in the F1 is Daniel Perez. Been rattled up the wall on the near side. Cole Golka is able to work one out of the zone. And it's been distributed up to the left side. Josh LaFrance sustains a big hit right in front of the Macon bench. It's played on the far half boards by Cole Golka, who will send it down to the corner for Cannon Piper. Piper kicks it back to Golka. With the J&J's heating and air dasher board, Daniel Perez is able to just eke it past the blue line. The Bulls on an offside, and the whistle blows. Stopping play. 14:05 to go in the first. 1-0 Macon. Marcus Ortiz with the lone goal of this game so far. Shots even at 6 apiece through the first 6 minutes of play or so. Last season, in games in which the Mayhem scored the first goal, they were 11-3-0 on home ice, 19-7-1 overall. For the first half of the year, they were undefeated when scoring first. Jarrett Cupp has it in his own zone. He returns it to Rennie Hunter, who makes a nice move to straddle the forechecker there, Casey Kolzicki, but to no avail. The Bulls were able to retrieve possession. Kolzicki will dump it into the Macon zone. Rennie Hunter coughs it up. Slap shot from the slot denied by Entma. Good quick stop on Casey Kolzicki, who was parked in the slot. He's there again. Now he's screening Kevin Entma as it's worked to the perimeter by J.M. Piotrowski. He turns, fires it wide of the net. Kolzicki scrapping for it. Piotrowski's got it near corner. He will rattle it back to the line. Long wrist shot flutters wide of the left post. Caesar leaves it for Rennie Hunter, who passes one into his own slot. It's recovered and flung by Kuzno to Lynch, who will just dump it into the opposite corner. Decides to continue forechecking rather than line changing. Lynch goes in behind the opposing goal line to try to fish for the puck. Lynch will get it near the Coca-Cola dasher board. He sustains a check, stays on his skates, fires the puck back to the point. Minerva with a D-to-D pass over to Larry Smith. His shot flutters up in the air. Caesar tried to turn it at the net, but it's blocked. And the Bulls have just cleared it out to the Mayhem logo in the neutral zone. Here comes Barber shooting. Chest saved by Entma. Jacob Barber's got an absolute rocket and a quick release. And Kevin Entma on top of his crease, square to that shot, made it look easy. 12:48 remaining in the first period. 1-0 Macon is your score. Barber, the University of Wisconsin Stevens Point graduate. Also a member of the inaugural Bulls. He was with the team when they started in the SPHL 2 seasons ago. The 2017-18 season was Birmingham's first in this league. And the Mayhem are clearly offside as Soper gloved that pass down with his hand. Ortiz was off by a couple of strides. Those are tough to track. It was a good effort. I believe it was Larry Smith who hoisted it up in the air, and it would have been a 2-on-1. Ortiz just a couple of strides ahead of it. Larry Smith, a very dependable defenseman, excellent getting the puck out of his own zone. Led the Mayhem in plus-minus last season with a +24 rating. As the Bulls redirect the puck into the offensive zone, Kevin Etma's got it and will rattle it around the boards. It's going to be held alive at the right point by Karel Drahorid, but he coughs up possession, and now it slides back in behind the Birmingham net. Lane Valamont's got it. He works one ahead, and here comes Connor Piper through the neutral zone. He feeds it to his left. Valamont is impeded by Zach Urban, the Northern Michigan product, knocking him to the ice. The Bulls still have it. Point-blank opportunity. Backhand shot. They score. It was a nice shot by Cannon Piper, who has just leveled the score for the Birmingham Bulls. Piper received the pass in the slot, put the puck onto his backhand, and beat Kevin Etma over the glove. That's just about any goaltender, folks. Those backhand shots from that range are very difficult to stop. They're much harder to predict than a forehand shot. Got no clue where the puck's going to go. And it just sort of has a way of rocketing off the stick in random directions. If you can master it, it can be an extremely dangerous weapon. Casey Kolzicki receiving the assist. Cole Golka getting the secondary on the goal scored by Cannon Piper. So Rennie Hunter will slide it to his defensive partner, Jarrett Cup. Sends it off the boards. Keplinger springs Pirog 2-on-1, joined by Perez. Pirog left circle over to Perez. He scores! What a response! Daniel Perez with goal number 2 in as many games since joining the Mayhem. It's 2-1 Macon. Jamie Hicks is not going to be happy. 2-on-1s are not a coach's best friend, certainly if it's against your side, and that's how Macon has scored both of its goals on 2-on-1 rushes down low. They've capitalized on both of them. Daniel Perez has had a red-hot start since joining the Mayhem. Mike Davis forces the issue, then centers it, hops off the stick of Barber. Dangerous opportunity there for Birmingham. Kuzno backhands a pass along. Sean Lynch will just slide it in behind the Bulls' net. Kuzno goes fighting for it. Lynch scoops it up and centers it out wide for a one-timer from the right circle by Caesar. That's denied. But the Bulls have been able to clear it out of their own zone as it's skated down the right side by Mike Davis. Davis feeds it into the right corner area. Jacob Barber for Josh Harris in the corner on the near side. Harris puts it onto his backhand and trickles it back to the line. Nobody was manning that point. It was vacant for just long enough. Puck has slid past it. The Bulls back into the zone. Barber right side. Good stick check by Jarrett Cup to knock the puck off his stick. Rennie Hunter trying to follow up. He advances it, but not far enough to clear the zone. Cannon Piper put it in behind the Macon net. The Mayhem back in control as Soper sends a rink-wide pass on the tape for Caleb Cameron. The Mayhem's alternate captain slithers across the blue line and drives wide on the left side, then shoots it off the left side of the goal, and the Bulls are out to center with it. Who's fed ahead by Lane Valamont. Now here comes Piper, driving wide on Nick Minerva. He will fire. Minerva got his stick in the way of the shot, thereby sending it out of play. That flying puck has been brought to you by Blues Painting and Home Repair. Nick Minerva with a good stick check to prevent a shot on goal coming from the dangerous Jacob Barber. We're nearly halfway through the opening period. An excellent response by the Mayhem to answer to Cannon Piper's goal. Daniel Perez lighting the lamp for the second time in as many nights. It's his third point in just his second game here in Macon. Nick Minerva rattles it off the glass. Perez will gun it down, gets high sticked, no penalty. He will put it behind the net. Keplinger tried to center it. It bounced off the side of the cage. Pirog fighting for it. Steven Pirog comes away with the puck. He centers it for Perez, whose one-timer is denied. Pirog sends it back towards the net. Keplinger being interfered with without the puck again. Nothing called. Pirog finishes his check, and it's been cleared out towards the Coca-Cola Ice logo in the neutral zone. And Larry Smith hacks at it, trying to pop it across the blue line. Keplinger helps him out, loses an edge, but gets it to Smith. Now it's Cousineau who will send an 85-foot wide pass on the tape for Keplinger. He dumps it in behind the Birmingham net. We're past the halfway point of the first period. 2-1 the score in favor of the Mayhem. It's Jacob Barber. Backhand pass on the tape for Josh Harris. Returns it for Barber. Left circle with a shot denied by Kevin Etma. A nice give-and-go play. The two of them are working together like a well-oiled machine, really that whole line. And every time they're on the ice, Leo Thomas and Ryan Michael have got to be ready in terms of personnel matchups and whatnot. A very dangerous three-man unit for Jamie Hicks. And Stathis Sumalidis will rejoin his team, as will Shaquille Morasti. They have served their penance in the penalty boxes for their fight from earlier in this game. For those of you who didn't see on Twitter at some point already this season, folks, the GIF that Stathis Sumalidis did, he's got boxing gloves on. There's a reason for that. He decided to take it upon himself this season to really be that sort of ultimate teammate, the guy that stands up for his players. Not only did he score an extremely clutch goal last night, which got the Mayhem a point in the standings, but tonight, willing to drop the gloves on behalf of his team. Really earning that A on his sweater so far, the Czech Republic native. Josh Cousineau winning the defensive zone face-off. Shoveled around the boards by Zach Urban. The shot was a weak one, blocked by Cousineau, given ahead to Danny Caesar. He airmails one into the Birmingham slot. Here's a quick shot just off target. Taken by Sean Lynch. Lynch has it. We'll feed it down to the left corner for Cousineau. Lynch gets right back on it, then tries to hotly send one in front. It's broken up. Sean Lynch has done a good job along the board so far in this game, particularly in the offensive zone. Here's a shot from a tough angle, taken by Shaquille Morasti, fresh out of the penalty box, denied by Kevin Etma. Now Lynch has it near half wall, attempts to clear it. He succeeds, and the Bulls will reorganize. Cole Golka, Birmingham veteran, dumps it into the opposite corner on the far side. Zach Urban's got it there. The Calgary native takes it in behind his own net and waits. The Mayhem have just completed a full line change. Urban still with it behind his own cage. He works in front of the trapezoid and begins the breakout. He sends it off of a Birmingham stick. It redirects right to Cameron at the right point. He feeds it off the far half wall. Jimmy Soper whacks at it. It ricochets out near the red line. Caleb Cameron scoops up the loose puck and turns up ice with it. He's got Jimmy Soper with him on the far side. Cameron delays, right circle. He fires, blocked, and here come the Bulls in transition. Cup's got to hurry back to defend the imminent rush coming from Barber. Cup gets his stick in the way. Barber carries in behind, loses possession. Now it's Harris who's hit pretty hard into the end wall, and the loose puck is corralled now by Jimmy Soper, who skates out to the neutral zone with it. Soper goes wide, left wing. Offside is the call against Macon, as Rennie Hunter had joined in the rush a bit too prematurely. And we get a whistle-stopping play. Rennie Hunter with a lot of skill, a lot of upside which Ryan Michael in particular recognizes, the Mayhem assistant coach who's responsible for the defenseman. When Marcus Ortiz was just sent to the penalty box, and he is furious. He slammed the box door. He is he's by himself in the Beyond Taboo Tattoo penalty box, and for the first time tonight we will get a penalty, or a power play rather. It'll belong to Birmingham. And we still have no word on as far as what the penalty was. I didn't see anything, so I can't really speculate here. But Ortiz clearly was not happy about the decision. The puck drops, the Birmingham Bulls winning the face-off. Interference the call against Ortiz. This Mayhem penalty kill is brought to you by J&J's Heating and Air Conditioning. The Bulls on the breakout. Down the right side is Cole Golka. He is stood up by Larry Smith. He's forced to pivot, but he will succeed in getting it down to Cannon Piper. The lone Birmingham goal scorer gets it up to the point. Krokock returns it for him to the goal line. Good pass. Down to Golka, who wheels into the slot with it, turns and fires a wrister. Went off of a piece of Kevin Etma's equipment, never saw it, but he stopped it. Now in the right corner, it's Mike Krokock. Krokock for Tony Lampo. And the pass back to the blue line is intercepted by Stathis Sumilidis, who will just kill some time and dump it all the way down into the Birmingham zone. Takes an awkward bounce and ricochets right to Art Bray, who holds on to it. Bray got a bit of a snow shower by Nick Minerva there, who had no choice but to just slam on the brakes. Birmingham realizing that, not getting into Minerva's face as a result. A minute and 11 seconds remaining on this Birmingham power play, the first of the game. Birmingham on the man advantage so far this season, clicking 1 out of 5 times at 20%. The Mayhem on the PK looked extremely sharp yesterday, but on the season, 78.6% in the SPHL. That ranks 3rd. I beg your pardon, that ranks 9th. Birmingham's power play ranking 3rd at 20%. So Lynch takes the puck away from Harris, and then we'll just send it back into the neutral zone to kill some more time. Jarrett Cupp flings it all the way down the ice. Birmingham will have to reset. And this power play has quickly gone by. Just 40 seconds remain on it, and the Bulls have got to get something going here in the offensive zone before time expires. Here's a chance for Barber down the left side. He is out-muscled by Jimmy Soper, loses possession, and the puck bounces off the near corner boards. Harris steps in, flutters it in behind the net, goes off a Birmingham glove, and kicked up to the stick by Barber, fed back to Harris at the line. Harris has Davis on his right, goes to his left, one-timer, kick save by Etma, loose puck scooped up by Cupp, and flung down the ice. That's going to just about do it. Birmingham with a dozen seconds. If they hurry, they might be able to get one more shot on goal, but they're deep in their own zone now as Karel Drahorid sends it up to Casey Kolzicki. Kolzicki will just backhand it in behind his own net. Artem Kurbatov has got it on his stick. Ortiz is let out of the box. The Bulls have just iced the puck. This will be an icing called against Birmingham, and they're going to have to keep their strange unit out there. They've got the power play still out there, the power play unit at least, even though they're no longer on the power play. And not only that, but they're tired, so as soon as they can, the Bulls are going to want to get a line change here. The Mayhem hoping to take advantage of this offensive zone face-off. The Mayhem improving to 1 for 1 on the J&J's heating and air penalty kill. Steven Pirog will take the offensive zone face-off, but he's beaten to it by Casey Kolzicki. And it's fed behind the Birmingham cage. The Bulls have gotten it at least out to center, possibly beyond that as it lands near the Mayhem blue line. It's played by Stathis Sumilidis, twisted into the zone by Kolzicki. Minerva takes over. Larry Smith, outlet pass, up to Sumilidis. Quick return for him by Pirog. Dumped into the zone. Pirog is in pursuit of it. No icing here. It's played by Nick Minerva at the right point. He will slap one hotly off the stick of Pirog. Recovered by Sumilidis. Perez turns. Couldn't get a wraparound attempt away. Perez from the outer hash marks to the far circle to Minerva at the blue line with a one-timer that's gloved by Art Bray. And this will be our final media timeout of period 1. Nick Minerva releasing that one-timer from the blue line, the 23-year-old defenseman out of New Brunswick, New Jersey, in his second season in Macon. With the absence of Kristaps Bazovic this season, he's playing pro hockey back home in Europe. I believe he's in the VHL, the second league under the Continental Hockey League, the KHL, the top league in Russia. Most argue the best league in the world outside of the NHL. Kristaps Bazovic's playing in that feeder league. And without him in Macon anymore, somebody's had to step up as the number 1 puck-moving defenseman for the Mayhem on the blue line. Sort of that power play quarterback. Defenseman leading the breakouts and making plays happen from the back end. And Nick Minerva really making his case to try to be the top guy for the Mayhem this season. So the Mayhem lining up for an offensive zone face-off to the left side of Art Bray. Josh Kuzno will take the draw. Birmingham's able to win it. It's Matt Fuller who will send it behind his own net. Good hit by Danny Caesar. Loose puck scooped up by Keplinger, who fired it from behind the goal line. Not much of an angle. The Mayhem get caught 2-on-1. Kalaman hurries over, tries to pry the puck away. Excellent defensive stick check by the Russian. But the Mayhem are not out of the woods yet. It's Golka, far circle. Dipping the shoulder, centering, brilliant pass. What a save by Entma. Golka gets it right back, flings it back to the line. Fuller tees up a slap shot. His shot is denied. Second shot stopped by Entma, and Kalaman will just steer it into the corner. Dangerous opportunities. Entma's been solid so far in this tilt. The Mayhem have cleared the danger for the time being, as Caesar will just float it wide of the left corner, or wide of the net rather, into the left corner and skate to the Macon bench for a line change. Now it's been gloved down from the far side. Ortiz with a shot, big save, and a rebound was loose. Keplinger was held up, couldn't get his stick on that. As a result, a hooking penalty will be made against Birmingham, and the Mayhem will get a chance on the power play for the first time tonight. I would say that Matt Fuller in that situation, the culprit on that hooking infraction, probably took that penalty in about as good of a time as you possibly could have. Coaches cannot stand offensive zone penalties when their team takes a penalty when they have the puck, obviously, but in situations like that where Keplinger would have had a clear tap-in on the rebound, if you're going to take a penalty, that was the time to do it. The Mayhem going to work on their first power play of the game. This power play is brought to you by Wild Wing Cafe. From the right point, it's Rennie Hunter. He will float it down to Keplinger. Keplinger in front of the net. One-timer, rebound. Caesar hit the post, and it stays out. Folks in the building thought that was in. And Danny Caesar looks skyward. He cannot believe that didn't enter the net. Before Dana Barker had even read off that we're on a Wild Wing Cafe power play, the Mayhem nearly scored. That almost looked like it went in from this angle, folks, but it did not. If it had, believe me, Caesar would have put his arms up in the air and pled his case. Ortiz back to the circle. Caesar with a drive, stopped by Bray. We've got another penalty coming up here. This could be against Macon for goaltender interference. As Keplinger ran into Art Bray, looked like either right before or during the save that the Birmingham netminder was somehow able to make, and Keplinger will skate to the Beyond Taboo Tattoo penalty box, thereby negating the remainder of Macon's power play. Just like that, the Mayhem have dropped to 0 for 1 on the man advantage tonight, and we head to the 4-on-4. Certainly not intentional by Josh Keplinger, but as the rule states, got to make as much of an effort as possible to avoid contact with the opposing goaltender. And according to Cody Helbig, Keplinger didn't do that, so he's going to have a seat. In the young man's defense, he did used to be a linebacker. And he played high school football back home in Michigan growing up. Also played tight end and punter. He's now in the box. The Mayhem do a 4-on-4 for the first time this evening. Cousineau down the right side. Josh Cousineau gains the zone, centers it. Minerva was there, but it was whacked off of his stick promptly by Shaquille Morasti. Morasti can't clear it. Caesar took it away. He centers it. Cousineau, slap shot. Skitters just wide of the net. As getting just a piece of it with his pads was Art Bray. And now it's Cole Golka for Birmingham. Golka gains his own blue line, now the red line, now the Macon blue line down the right side. He's sized up, loses the puck, but right to a teammate as it flutters over the stick of Sumulidis off the far half wall. Chucked behind the net by Lane Valamont, and we get another penalty. This time it's hooking against Macon. It's going to be Larry Smith to the box, and Birmingham will get a 4-on-3 power play. This is another opportunity for the visitors to retie this game back up. They've already done it once this period. 3 minutes remain in the first, 2-1 Macon. And Cody Helbig, who was very lenient on the whistle to start this game, has now been calling everything he can. The puck drops. Soper wins the draw, but it's given quickly away to Tony Lampo. The Finn puts it behind the net for Birmingham. Flung back up to the right point where Mike Krokock walks the blue line. Soper's in the shooting lane, so Krokock delivers to his left. Harris has it, left circle. Harris with a shot, whistles just wide of the right post, missed it by inches. It's collected by Jacob Barber, right half wall, steps into the high slot, gets it right back from Harris, gives it to his left for Krokock. His shot is denied by Entma, sliding over from his right to his left to make the save. And a good job tracking that shot through all that puck movement along the perimeter by the Birmingham Bulls. Krokock, Harris, and Barber responsible for that three-way passing play in which they connected several times. 26 seconds remain on the penalty called against Fuller, after which he will hit the ice and join the Bulls for a 5-on-3. I doubt he expected that to happen when he went to the sin bin a few minutes ago. The puck drops, the Bulls win the draw in the offensive zone. Krokock walks the blue line. He gives it to Barber above the right circle. Barber and Krokock switch places. Now it's Harris with a one-timer. And a stick save is made by Entma. He was down in the butterfly, square to the shot, good angle. He made the stop. It's been cleared all the way down, and Art Bray is going to have to make a play on it for Birmingham. 5 seconds. And then Fuller is let out of the box. Fuller is let out. The Bulls on an abbreviated 5-on-3 for the next 16 seconds. Down the right wing side, it's brought by Mike Krokock, who will carry in behind the net. And it's one-handed along into the corner on the near side of the ice. Now it's Tony Lampo. Didn't see a shooting lane that he liked. Gives it off to his right. A one-timer by Krokock is blocked. He gets back on it, slides it over. Outside of the reach of the intended target, Jacob Barber on that pass. And the Mayhem have just cleared it down the length. Josh Keplinger, the guy who's just let out of the penalty box, going right into the defensive zone, doing some digging along the boards and clearing it. Excellent job done by Keplinger, and now the Bulls have just half a minute remaining on their power play. This Mayhem penalty kill is brought to you by J&J's Heating and Air Conditioning. Karel Draharad. His pass misfired. He's hoping to connect with J.M. Piotrowski. It was a tweener. Went between his stick and his skates. As a result, a Tropical Smoothie Cafe icing call is made against Birmingham. This penalty kill is all but over, and that was a long and arduous task for the Mayhem to fight off a 4-on-3, a 5-on-3, and a 5-on-4 all in the same kill. How often do you see that happen? The puck drops. Birmingham wins the draw, and it's collected by Lane Valamont behind his net. He will send one in front of it, and J.M. Piotrowski's got it. The Yale graduate delivers it to his left. It's dumped into the near corner and worked up the boards on the near side. Right point shot attempt there by Karel Draharad was blocked, and here comes the Mayhem. Down the right wing side, it's Sean Lynch. He will send one on net slowly. It trickles off the pads of Art Bray, who made a kick save with his right foot. Now it's given back to Oleg Kalaman. Kalaman spirits one off the skates of J.M. Piotrowski. Josh LaFrance turned it over. Jimmy Soper on the back check with 35 seconds remaining in the period. LaFrance took it back away. And from the neutral zone, it's been rattled back into Macon territory. Oleg Kalaman delivers it to Nick Minerva. Minerva's pass is redirected by Stathis Soumalides into the offensive zone from short of the red line, but it does not reach the goal line, so no icing. Matt Fuller with a full head of steam for Birmingham. Works his way in across the Macon blue line, tees up a slap shot, which is blocked by the stick of Jarrett Cupp and out of play. That flying puck's been brought to you by Blues Painting and Home Repair. We've got 11 seconds remaining in the opening period, a period in which the Mayhem got off to the start they wanted. They lead by a 2-1 margin, scored the first goal. Birmingham had an answer. Cannon Piper tying things up, and just seconds later, the Mayhem getting back on the board. Steven Pirog feeding Daniel Perez. Pirog's team-leading 5th assist on the season with that pass. And Perez with his second goal in as many games. Very impressive start for number 40 in blue. The Bulls with one last opportunity here before the period expires. Matt Fuller twists it towards the net. Bounces off the near half wall. Soumalides has it, and that'll do it. The first 20 are in the books. The Mayhem scoring twice. The Bulls scoring once. 2-1 the score in favor of Macon through the first third of this tilt. Well, taking advantage of Birmingham's bus legs was one of the 3 keys of today's game. We knew that in the first period, if the Mayhem got off to the right start, they had a much better chance of winning this game. They have done that. They have already checked off one of the 3 keys of tonight's game and no longer have to worry about it. The other 2, containing J.M. Piotrowski, which they've done so far. Birmingham's number 21, who has been red hot, registered 2 points against Macon during the preseason game and has scored a goal in each regular season game, was held virtually silent for that entire period. The Mayhem will have to continue keeping a close eye on number 21 and then Continuing the diligent penalty killing, that was also done. The Mayhem 3 for 3 in period 1 on the PK. They went to the box probably more often than they would have liked, but it was sort of strange the way that Cody Helbig officiated that first period. It sort of sent the message in the beginning that he was going to be lenient, and then things sort of turned around, which I suppose if you're a referee, you've got to make that call at some point. If you feel as though your leniency is being taken advantage of, then you have to start cracking down and making some calls. So though the Mayhem didn't like it, I know Marcus Ortiz didn't, it was probably something that Cody Helbig felt as though had to be done in order to keep this game under control. So to break down that first period for you in a bit greater detail, Ortiz scoring, assisted by Jimmy Soper at 4:37. Ortiz's goal coming at the tail end of a Birmingham turnover. Jimmy Soper had possession on the right wing, and from the right circle, he flung it over to Marcus Ortiz, who just fired it into a wide open net over the pads of Art Bray. 4:37 into period 1. Cannon Piper responded a few minutes later. 7:59 into the contest. Piper with an unassisted goal, though I believe he should have been assisted by Casey Kolzicki. That may be fixed later, but for now it's just an unassisted score by Cannon Piper. And finally, Daniel Perez, just 24 seconds later, being assisted by Stephen Pirog and Jarrett Cupp, finishing off a one-time blast from the right circle to beat Art Bray cleanly and give the Mayhem a 2-1 lead. That is now where we stand. The Mayhem getting the better of Birmingham in terms of shots on goal as well. Right now showing 14-13 in favor of Macon. We're going to have an out-of-town scoreboard update for you shortly, folks, but in the meantime, we're going to play back our last episode of Line Change, Leo Thomas Coach's Show, every Tuesday night at the Rookery in downtown Macon, 543 Cherry Street. If you ever want to come by, enjoy some nice Macon food, some handcrafted Macon food. It is delicious, especially the milkshakes over there. They're outstanding. You can also get your fix of hockey talk and ask Coach Thomas or one of the players. We bring 2 players every week, or myself. Any question your heart desires, we'd be happy to answer it for you. The show runs about 30 minutes, and if you're lucky, you might just win a Mayhem autographed puck from the 2 guests that we bring aboard. Again, every Tuesday night, 6 p.m. at the Rookery in downtown Macon. We hope to see you there. Our last episode did archive, episode 2. Stathis Sumalitis and Jimmy Soper were the guests, so please enjoy a segment of our last show while we take a break here on the Mayhem Broadcast Network. Through one period of play here in Macon, the Mayhem leading the Birmingham Bulls by a score of 2-1. We'll be back in a moment, folks. Keep it right here. The thing is that you do please ask your question into the microphone here. Also, if you would be so kind as to sort of pass the mic around when that section does come, we'd appreciate it. We just want to make sure everyone's questions are heard and are good to go on our archive version on YouTube. And then we'll just sort of wrap the show up at the end by previewing the upcoming weekend we have coming up this Friday and Saturday night at the Macon Centreplex. So, Coach, first thing I want to ask you is, this past weekend, opening weekend, now in the books, the Mayhem took 3 points of a possible 4. Overall, pretty good start to the season. From opening weekend, what were some of the biggest strengths and weaknesses that you gathered from the team?
Well, obviously, to start the season, first 2 games are going to be a lot of sloppy hockey and stuff like that. I thought the first game was just up and down, a lot of turnovers, and we couldn't bury on our chances and stuff like that. But I think my group really showed in the second game what we're capable of. I think that was probably the best game I've seen my team play as a whole, for over the last 2 years. It was a great game. They battled from, the drop of the puck all the way to the end of the game. So, got a lot of positive stuff out of it, and the negative stuff I kind of knew was going to happen. It being so early in the season. So, but we just got to build off it every day and get better.
Right, and not only did you guys battle in terms of the scoreboard, but you battled in terms of nearly losing appendages. Before I shift the focus to these two gentlemen to your right, I want to talk about Ryan Devine and what happened there. He took a high stick to the face, in between his mouth and his nose, from what I've been told. There's a trail of blood leading from the incident all the way to the locker room. Can you maybe go into a little more detail about what happened in the locker room afterward, and can you shed some light on what his status is going forward?
Yeah, that's a scary thing to see. Nobody knew exactly what happened. We didn't know if it was a skate or anything like that. So, in the room, I kind of went in there after the period. Docs were all around him, and they were checking him out, and he ended up getting about 7 or 8 stitches in his lip and broke his nose. He's a tough kid, though. The kid wanted to come back out. He got fixed up. We put a cage on him, and he was begging me to come back out for the third period. So, kid's a warrior. Unfortunately, he does need surgery. So, we'll probably put him on the IR here for 3 weeks.
Okay.
But it's an injury where once it's fixed, it'll take about 2 weeks to get back. So, I think the safest thing to do is just to get him healed up. I got some bodies here now, so we'll get him healed up, and he'll be back in a few weeks.
Is he going to keep the bubble on after he comes
Yeah,
back?
he has to.
Yeah.
I'll make sure he has to keep that on until it's fully healed. So.
Well, not too many other sports would you see somebody who gets his nose cut open and then returns to the ice, or returns to the game before the game's over. So really impressive stuff from Ryan Devine this past weekend. I think he showed a lot of heart. I'm going to shift the focus now to the two players we have on hand here, who, by the way, Jimmy Soper and Stathis Sumulidis, recently appointed alternate captains for your 2019-20 Macon Mayhem. Sumi, I'm going to address the first question to you here. You got into a fight with Chance Braid before the third period even started. The puck dropped, and just like that, you two were going at it. When was it decided that you two were going to drop the gloves?
I think it was right from the hub, because I think he hit Minerva behind the net like the first shift, and then he was just running around pretty much the whole game. And so I asked him earlier a couple times, but he was always tired, I guess. So he would always have an excuse or something. So, and before the third period started, I asked him to go, but yeah, I told him he has no excuse right now, because he can be tired after the break. So yeah, I asked Leo if it's a good time to go, and Leo gave me the green light. So that's how it all started.
So how's your hand doing after that?
No, hand is fine. One was swollen, but
Yeah.
I think it's from I hit his helmet a couple times. So, but yeah, hand is fine.
Right. So, Jimmy, you ended up actually scoring a goal just 3 minutes after the fact. Now, I've heard from several people that sometimes it does raise team morale when there's a fight. Sometimes it doesn't. Did that raise the team morale? Did it raise your morale?
I think we were all kind of expecting it, because we saw him asking all game, and you could tell as soon as Sumi went on the ice to start the third, everyone was standing, and fans were into it, and it brought a lot of life for the third period, and I thought we thrived off it, so it was a big start for us.
It was, and it would stand as the game-winning goal. You guys played a tremendous defensive game, I thought, especially in the third period after an up-and-down opening night on Friday. So the next question I want to ask is for both of you two. You were, like I said earlier, you were both recently appointed alternate captains for the team this season. You're on a team full of veterans, lots of players on this team who've been in this league for a long time. And you guys are pretty young. You're 24 and 25 years old. What does it mean to you to be alternate captains for this organization?
Yeah, it's obviously an honor and a privilege. You see look around the dressing room, and there is a lot of leaders, a lot of older guys, and even guys that I still look up to. So to have a letter on the jersey is an honor, and something that I cherish, and I hope to earn, well, not earn, but show the other guys that I can be a leader and take charge out there.
Yeah, definitely. We still, even though we're the alternate captains, there's a lot of guys on the team that even that could probably wear the leather. That all lead by example. So we have a lot of guys that could wear the leather, I guess, this year.
Sure. Okay, last question I have for you two, and then I'll let the fans ask some questions. I need to ask this. When did this epic ping pong rivalry of yours start? And why did it start?
I think it started last year, really. Sumi was the only guy I couldn't beat, so I took the challenge, and it took all the way until today to actually beat him in a series. So
Thank you.
You beat him
today was
today?
a big one.
That was your first time?
First time in beating him in a three-game series.
And we could hear it. We could hear it in the locker room. That's how pumped he was.
Love the music. Pretty good.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of it has to do my hands from the fight that I'm hurt. So, but
Yeah, he brought his book of excuses this morning. So
I know.
Now,
Last year we had
Stephen
a few.
Pirog is the self-proclaimed best ping pong
Did what?
player on the team. Do you two have anything to
Yeah.
say about that?
I know.
I haven't seen him play, but I'm going to call it garbage on that one.
Well, we're thinking about having a Mayhem ping pong tournament. The only issue that we're possibly running into is making it a mandatory event where the whole team has to go. I don't know how many guys would want to stay after practice for a couple hours and do that, but I think it could be a lot of fun. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
yeah, there's a lot of guys that actually want to play after practice, but me and Jimmy just don't let anybody play.
Oh, you
because-
hog the table,
yeah.
I can confirm. All right, guys, so the next portion of the show is going to belong to you. Like I said earlier, you can ask any question your heart desires, voice any comment, concern, complaint your heart desires as well. Like I said, the only thing we ask is that you do please do so into the microphone here. DJ, if I could trouble you to pass it around a little bit, that would be appreciated. And the floor is yours. Okay.
Leo, do you think the one-game suspension was adequate, or do you think he deserved more?
Honestly, I think he deserves more. I mean, when a guy's hurt that bad and needs surgery and he's going to be out for almost a month, it shouldn't be one game. So.
Do you think it was intentional after seeing that video?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like it on the video.
No, it was, and that's why when I saw it, I clipped it real quick and sent it to the head of officiating and sent him an email and everything. And to me, that's more than a game, but something that's out of my hands. So I think we can deal with that next time we play them, and and just go from there. Yeah, we know who it is. So.
This actually goes to the players. How bad was the urge to have a stray puck hit the referee in the forehead?
There's highs and lows with the officiating within games, periods, and that's something that I think we're going to try and do a better job of this year, is just trying to keep our composure and control what we can control. So, again, there's heat of the moment and stuff, and you'd like to do stuff and say stuff that you can't do. It just hurts you in the long run. So, I think we're just going to try and control what we can control more often.
It can't just be an oops.
I'll get in a lot of trouble for that. I need my players. That's like a 20-game suspension. Well, maybe not. If that guy got one, I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey, Coach. On Friday, the trips to the penalty box really detracted from the team's ability to win, whereas Saturday, it felt like the refs allowed both teams to play their game to the fullest extent. So I was actually wondering what your thoughts on the comparison and contrast to Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, Friday was, before you walked in, I think we were kind of talking about it, but Friday, it being the first game of the season, you're expecting some missed calls or bad bounces, stuff like that. So, some of the calls I thought were questionable, but he also did miss some that I thought that should have been calls. So it was a little inconsistent, but both teams were battling. It was like 40-something shots to 40-something. So, we're just glad we could get out of there with at least 1 point. So.
There were 89 shots on goal on Friday night, for those of you wondering. I don't think that'll happen every game.
I hope not. 48 for us would be good.
Yeah. So Sean O'Brien's not here. I'm sure all of you guys have noticed that, and he's always, filled to the brim with questions. So he texted me 4 of his questions that he wants answered tonight. I'll ask one of them now. I believe this one's addressed to Coach. He said, I didn't see Saturday's game, but based on Friday and the comments from both Saturday and the preseason game, Soper looks like a different player in the offensive zone. He still hits everything that moves, but is generating more scoring chances and starting to drive possession. Was there anything different he focused on during the off-season? Is it better chemistry with Cameron, Timofeyev, and others playing wing instead of center?
So I think that's a question for him then, right?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
This summer I changed my training, did a lot of more puck skills and shooting the puck. Just tried to kind of enhance my skill side of the game, but I don't think I'll ever stop hitting. I enjoy that part of the game and always looking to do that.
And I'll make sure he hears that answer. It's getting recorded.
Okay, welcome back, folks. We hope you enjoyed that interview with Jimmy Soper, Stathis Sumalitas, Coach Thomas. That was our second episode in Season 2 of Line Change. The show was a resounding success last season. We had to keep it going. The only difference to this season is that it's at 6 p.m. Eastern Time rather than 6:30 at the Rookery. But still, by all means, we'd love to have you for an early dinner anytime you're free on a Tuesday night and would like to treat yourself to some fine Macon handcrafted food and some hockey talk with Coach Thomas and 2 players. By all means, join us Creek Stage at the Rookery. We hope you enjoyed that excerpt from our last episode. The Mayhem enjoying a 2-1 advantage. They head into the second period of play. As promised, let's take a brief look around the SPHL for Hampton Inn and Suites out-of-town scoreboard update. Roanoke hosting Fayetteville in its home opener. The Marksmen off to an extremely good start this season. They've won 2 games out of 3. The only one they lost was in overtime. 2-0-1, the Fayetteville Marksmen. And maybe making the Mayhem feel a little bit better about being defeated by them on their home opener. That is a tough team this season, folks. They do not look to be slowing down anytime soon. They've got a 1-0 lead over Roanoke. A tough home opener for Roanoke, without a doubt, having played here last night, traveling 8 hours up to Virginia and opening their season against a tough team. Not easy for Dan Bremner and company. A formidable challenge, certainly, and there's plenty of hockey left to be played in that game. Quad City hosting Huntsville, hoping to sweep the series against the defending champs. They won last night in extra time. 3-2 was the final score in favor of Quad City. The Storm won in the shootout, knocking Huntsville down to a 1-1-1 record. And finally, Evansville-Peoria yet to square off. As that wraps up your Hampton Inn Suites out-of-town scoreboard update. In the meantime, the game you're all here to see back underway. As a shot from center ice was handled by Kevin Entman. Now there's some pushes and shoves transpiring after the fact in the near corner of the Macon zone. It only took 11 seconds for there to be a whistle in period 2. The longer this game goes on, the feistier players will most likely be, the less patience they'll have for one another. Macon fought off all 3 power plays of Birmingham's in the first period. 3 for 3 on the PK, Birmingham countering with a perfect 1 for 1. The Bulls have won the neutral zone faceoff clearly, as cleanly rather, as Matt Fuller from the neutral zone dumps it into the Macon end, and Larry Smith rattles it around the boards. It hops over the stick of Cole Golka all the way down, icing the call against Macon. That icing call has been brought to you by Tropical Smoothie. The Mayhem will have to take a defensive zone faceoff. Jamie Hicks, taking advantage of the icing call, will swap lines, and the Mayhem will have to keep the same 5 out there. Hicks putting out his big guns, Harris, Barber, and Davis all on the ice for the Bulls. Kuzno taking a defensive zone draw to the left side of Kevin Etma. The draw is won by Birmingham, but Urban has his stick on it, advances it to Lynch, who fails to clear it. Good glove by Artem Kurbatov. Now the Mayhem have worked it out into the neutral zone. Caesar trying to kick it up to his stick. The Bulls have prevented a 2-on-1 rush. The Mayhem in possession, however, as Kuzno circles back. Caesar from center ice will just hammer it on net from there. And a 65-foot save was just made by Art Bray. Now it's handled behind the Birmingham cage by Alex Johnson. He delivers it to his left for Barber. Barber's pass redirects off the stick of Kurbatov. And Pirog forces a turnover, intercepting the pass in the neutral zone. Here comes Perez down his off wing, twisting it back. Pirog's one-timer is fought off by the mask of Art Bray. Awkward-looking save, but he made it. As Sumilidis will feed it to Perez. Perez slips it in front, steered aside. Hunter gets a chance above the right circle. Dips his way by, loses the puck. Sumilidis turned it at the net. Goes blocked, pinballs in behind Perez now. Dangling his way to the left circle, dropping it back to the line for Cup, whose shot redirects just wide of the right post. And the Bulls are back in control as it's been flung out to the neutral zone. Good defensive stick by Cup. And what have we here? A whistle stopping play. The linesman on the far side near the Macon bench blew the whistle when the Mayhem had possession of the puck. The only thing I can think of is a too many men on the ice penalty. And it looks like that is the case. Unless there's perhaps some interference or something of the sort away from the puck. But Daniel Perez is now in the Mayhem penalty box. And for the 4th time tonight, the Bulls will go to the power play. In a very one-sided tilt in terms of power play time. Fuller feeds it to his right. Too many men on the ice is the call against Macon. Perez serving the infraction, the bench minor. Outer hash marks far circle, it's Mike Krokock. He drops it off Fuller, right circle now, will shoot. Pinball's off the side of the net. Smith tried to wire it around. It gets blocked by a Birmingham skate. And Fuller will now scrap for it along the near half wall. Cameron will just deposit it behind his own net. Nick Minerva guns it down, whacks it off the glass as it rolls its way down into Birmingham territory. It's going to be collected by Tony Lampo, who will drop the puck off, sustains a check from Jimmy Soper, the hard-hitting Canadian power forward out of Waterloo, Ontario. He keeps his stick on the ice, trying to pry it away. Pinballs awkwardly right in front of the net. And the Mayhem have eluded the danger for now. Cameron flutters one up ice. Tried to find Soper breaking, no luck. Soper delivers another hit on the shift, this time on Fuller. It's been flung rink wide onto the tape for Barber above the right circle. His pass bounces off a Birmingham stick, side of the net attempt, backdoor shot from the corner, and a stop is made by Etma. It looked like the puck went off the side of the cage, and the whistle blows. The puck was just bouncing around every which way down there. And eventually, Barber took a shot from the corner, essentially. And really, he had no angle but to put it off the side of the net. We're halfway through this Birmingham power play. 17:21 to go in the second period. The Mayhem leading by a score of 2-1. Perez with 56 seconds before he's let back onto the ice. This Mayhem penalty kill is brought to you by J&J's Heating and Air. The puck drops in the left circle in the Macon zone. It's at the left point now. Draharad has it, I beg your pardon. Karel Draharad will slide it down to Barber. He wheels in behind the net. Harris peels back, gets himself open. Davis receives it from Barber, gets it right back to him. Harris now above the right circle, feeds it to Draharad at the left point. Draharad strides it down to the outer hash marks of the left circle. Tapping his stick, calling for it is Harris. He receives it in the deep slot. He will slap it to the left circle. Good circle-to-circle pass, perhaps one pass too many as Draharad rescues it and feeds it back to the blue line. Harris Gives it to Barber. Draharad. Barber, far circle. His shot is denied by Kevin Etma. And from the far half wall, Harris centers it. Barber's one-timer is off the mark. Reversed those two. And now it's played in the left half wall by Karel Draharad. Back to the blue line again. Harris with a slap shot, stopped by Etma, who slams the 5-hole shut to make the save. Good puck movement by the Birmingham Bulls, but there is such a thing as good and too much. Perhaps that's what happened there. Maybe one pass too many on a few of those opportunities. Kevin Etma looking good tonight. Stopped 17 of the 18 shots that he's faced. He hasn't been that good. He hasn't stopped 17 out of 16. So that's never been done in his defense. So Lampo sends it off the side of the net. It's corralled now by Perez and sprung ahead. Here comes Soper down the left side. Pirog to the front of the net. Gives it over to Perez from his backhand. Tried to twist it back in front. Pirog was handcuffed by it, and the Bulls are back in control. J.M. Piotrowski slides it behind his own cage. Perez steals it, puts it into the trapezoid. Perez then fires a one-timer on the pass from Pirog, deflects out of play following that blocked shot. 15:57 to go in the second. 2-1 Macon is the score. All three of the goals from the first period came in the first half of it. Macon's response came just 24 seconds after Birmingham's goal. Ortiz struck first, then it was Cannon Piper. Then 24 seconds after that, it was Daniel Perez. Ortiz, Cameron, Soper all out there for this offensive zone draw. That draws one cleanly by Cameron. Urban has it above the right circle, and his shot is tracked all the way by Art Bray, who makes a glove save. Zach Urban, the business marketing major up at Northern Michigan University, before John Seamer convinced him to come down to Macon to begin his professional career. He's been here ever since. Right down the middle skates Cannon Piper, who twists with it above the right circle in the Mayhem zone. He sends it off the near half wall. It's punched back to Ortiz, who will spring one along for Jimmy Soper. Ortiz had it in between his skates, couldn't secure possession. And now Golka will accelerate across the red line. Down the right wing, he skates it. Kalaman forces him to turn and gives the puck away from the point. Second shot after the block from Urban was hacked wide. The Bulls looking to keep the pressure going as Cannon Piper, with a mishandle at the point, coughs up possession, has to retreat and fling it back in. Etma from behind his cage to Zach Urban. Urban slides it ahead for Caleb Cameron. Tried to catch Marcus Ortiz behind the defense. Fuller read it and picked it off. From the far corner, it's Oleg Kalaman in his own zone. Kalaman up to Cameron at his own blue line. Back to Zach Urban, who steps away from one forechecker, works his way out to the red line, then deposits it into the Birmingham zone. Art Bray behind his net will drop it for Fuller. Matt Fuller for Birmingham. Puck's been turned over at the blue line to the other number 7, Josh Cousineau. Worked ahead for Barber. He turns it over to Caesar, who floats it just wide of the net. No icing, however. And Alex Johnson is able to advance it as far as Barber. Johnson gets it right back from Barber and will deke his way away from Josh Cousineau. He slams it off the boards as it trickles down to the Macon goal line. Caesar reverses it. Nick Minerva's got it. He will slap it up the far wing on the left side. Jarrett Cup had it bounce off his blade. Check that. It's Josh Keplinger. The Mayhem on a delayed offside. He will now float it into the end wall area, and it was played by a high stick from Birmingham, so the faceoff will come into their zone next. But first, a media timeout is on our hands as we're 6 minutes into the second period. 2-1 the score in favor of Macon. All 3 goals coming in the first half of the first period. Josh Cousineau, the one dumping the puck into the offensive zone that went off of a high stick. He still holds the Mayhem record for most points in a single game. Last season was a hero on Pucks and Paws night back on March 2nd of 2019. Scored 5 points in one game on his first weekend as a pro. 8 points on the weekend, undoubtedly the SPHL star of the week. And on that night, he had 2 goals, 3 assists. broke a long-standing Macon record, which is still in effect today. Daniel Perez stepping in to take an offensive zone face-off. He wins it. Pirog from the far half wall drops it to Cup, who's one-timer. He scores! Jared Cup let it fly from the blue line. A 55-foot bomb beats Art Bray. The Mayhem have their first insurance lead on the season. It's 3-1 Macon. That's Jared Cupp's first goal on the campaign. He scored from that virtually same spot last season. And for the Mayhem, it's their first Country Financial Insurance lead on the campaign. They have a 3-1 edge over Jamie Hicks and the Bulls. 6 minutes into the second period, 3-1 is your score. As Rennie Hunter floats it ahead for Perez. Here's Artem Kurbatov with it behind his own net. Stathis Soumalides retreats out to the neutral zone. A different forechecking strategy here. The Mayhem might lean more towards a trap situation as opposed to the puck side attack in the offensive zone. Jared Cup will reverse it behind his own net. Stephen Pirog sends it back there as it was in a dangerous spot. Rennie Hunter receives it from Cup and will work it up the right wall for Daniel Perez. Perez gains the zone skillfully and slides it to Soumalides, who will deposit it into the right corner. Stephen Pirog is watched carefully by Cole Zicki. Perez escapes with it, drives, turns, shoots, stopped by Bray, and he hangs on with it. Daniel Perez, excellent in close quarters. For a big guy, he's got outstanding hands. Standing at 6'3", Daniel Perez has the hands of somebody who's 5'9". That line for Macon has been very hard for Birmingham to stop tonight, folks. The Pirog, Soumalides, Perez line. Urban tees up a slap shot from the right point, which whistles wide. Kalaman with a pinch, couldn't keep the attack going, but the Mayhem still in control in the neutral zone. Urban blasts it wide of the left post. And Soper kicks it up to his stick, outer hash marks, far circle. Cameron gets it to the goal line, attempts to stuff it in. Couple of saves made by Bray. Loose puck, backhand shot by Cameron is blocked. And now it's collected by Soper on the near corner boards, but he's pickpocketed, and the Bulls escape out to the neutral zone with it. Marcus Ortiz slides it over to his left. Oleg Kalaman's got it on his stick. His pass is one-handed away by Matt Fuller. He slams it hard off the near half wall in the Birmingham zone. It's recovered now by Shaquille Marasti, I beg your pardon. Marasti got into a fight with Stathis Soumalides in the first shift. Now the Mayhem calling for a too many men on the ice penalty, which should have been made and was clearly missed by Cody Helbig, who just called one against Macon not long ago when the puck didn't go off of one of their players' skates. Questionable non-call, we'll call it, by Cody Helbig. Danny Caesar pursues it in the far corner. He is tripped up. Again, nothing called. Josh Kuzno leaves it for Sean Lynch. The fans here are incredulous, and rightly so. Caesar gets it inside of the trapezoid, centers it out in front. A backhand shot is denied by Art Bray. Josh Harris will take the face-off in the defensive zone against Josh Cousineau. Harris, the leading scorer for the Bulls last season with 63 points on the year. 31 years of age, has played for half of the teams in the SPHL. As it's been cleared all the way down, this will be a Tropical Smoothie Cafe icing against Birmingham. Harris, in his SPHL career, has played for the likes of Huntsville, Peoria, Evansville, Pensacola, and now Birmingham. He is an SPHL journeyman, but has found a new home in Birmingham and seemingly has loved playing there. Looking at what he did last season, leading the team with 63 points. And it was second in the entire league behind only Peoria's Ben Blasco last season, who had 68 on the campaign. Harrison across the blue line. Right point, flutters one towards the net. It bounces off a Macon stick, and now it's inside of the Mayhem trapezoid. Nick Minerva will slide one ahead. It goes off the stick of Stathis Sumilidis, and further down, Artem Kurbatov takes over. Kurbatov has it. Sumilidis directing traffic. Out with it skates Harris with a lot of speed. He will gain the Macon blue line, drop it off to his left for a left circle shot by Johnson that was denied by the glove of Kevin Entma. Johnson's got it in front of his bench, floats it wide of Entma's net. It's going to be picked up in the near corner by Nick Minerva, who spirits a 100-foot pass ahead. It's redirected by Perez. And now it's scooped up by Karel Drahorid, who slammed into the corner boards on the far side of the ice. At Harrison's body shot, big collision was delivered by Caleb Cameron, and the Bulls are caught on an offside. We're nearing the halfway point of regulation time, 10:25 to go in the second period. The Mayhem hold a 3-1 advantage over the Birmingham Bulls, hoping that they can take 6 points out of 8 in their first 4 games of the season, all of which have been on home ice. The Mayhem with a very top-heavy schedule this season. A whole whack of home games to start the campaign. Here's Marcus Ortiz with a step behind the defense, shoots it just wide of the right post. And he was able to get behind Lane Valamont quickly, Marcus Ortiz, after that neutral zone draw. Now Rennie Hunter's got it at the red line. Hunter slides it to Jarrett Cup, scored the most recent Macon goal. Puck's been slapped to the right wing side for Marcus Ortiz. Jimmy Soper goes in, tumbling, trying to win possession back. Given from Valamont up to Karel Drahorid. And look out here. Here comes Birmingham's Cole Golka. Had his shot blocked. That was Lampo, rather. And now Soper picks up the loose puck in his own slot. His pass is picked off in the neutral zone by Krokock. He floats it wide of the Macon net. Bounces right to Jarrett Cup, who angles it behind his own goal. Rennie Hunter's outlet pass finds Danny Caesar. The former Knoxville Ice Bear gets it right back in the neutral zone, but he couldn't sidestep Fuller. Now it's Birmingham on a transition attack. Jarrett Cup from the far corner near the Ortho Georgia dasherboard. Whacks it to the near corner wall. Danny Caesar can't clear it. And the pass out into the high slot. Pinballs around. Golka with a quick shot stopped by Entma. Has to make a second save after the rebound. And he does just that. Crowd giving him an appreciative round of applause after that save. And now from the far side, it's Cannon Piper. Still, to this moment, has scored Birmingham's only goal. The shot from the right circle is well wide of the net. It caromed off a Macon stick and out of play. That flying puck's been brought to you by Blues Painting and Home Repair. Taking the shot there was Cole Golka. 8:56 to go here in the second period. 3-1 Macon is your score. Cole Golka was a longtime teammate of Derek Sutliff while at the College of St. Scholastica for 4 years. Derek Sutliff, by the way, former Mayhem sniper. Was second on the team in goals last year for the Mayhem. He's no longer here. He's with the Evansville Thunderbolts, and we got to give a stick tap to Derek Sutliff, number 19, because he scored his first goal with the Thunderbolts last Saturday night. So congratulations to Derek on that accomplishment, and we certainly miss him down here in Macon. He had requested a trade for fair reasoning. He had family up closer to Evansville and wanted to be closer to them as he continued his hockey career, so it's understandable. Unfortunately, the trade the Mayhem didn't end up really panning out, as they ended up getting Darian Hatcher's son Chase, but Chase didn't end up coming to Macon, so the Mayhem didn't really get too much in the way of return on that exchange. So Josh Harris from the near corner slides a pass over right to Barber, who centers it, hoping for Davis, but the pass was behind him. And now it's been airmailed off the glass by Daniel Perez, gloved down by Pirog. It's been one-handed out by Zach Urban right to Sumilidis, who skyhooks one into Birmingham territory. Gloved down and collected by Barber. Hand pass called against Birmingham. That puck looked like it was just whacked out of midair. Not sure I agree with that call. The Bulls certainly don't. It was just whacked out of midair, and Cody Helbig saying that it was a hand pass. So the Mayhem are the benefactors of that call, and we'll get an offensive zone face-off as a result. And if the Mayhem can score off of this face-off, Jamie Hicks will not be a happy man. Caleb Cameron to take the draw to the right of Art Bray. He's countered by Casey Kolzicki, who had an unregistered assist on Birmingham's lone goal. Now with it behind his own net is Lane Valamont. Delivers it to his left on the tape. Good pass for Karel Drahorid, who will fire it into the zone from the neutral zone, and it bounces up off the backboard's glass. And Nick Minerva, along with help from Caleb Cameron, is trying to work the puck up the wall. He succeeds. Ortiz has it on his stick, 1 against 3. Ortiz from the blue line fires it over top of the net. Bounces off the backboard. Soper gives a big hit into the corner. Fights for the loose puck. It's been whacked inside of the Birmingham trapezoid. Caleb Cameron ends up with it on the near corner. Caleb Cameron, the RIT grad, will send it down to Soper. Now out to Ortiz. Ortiz in the near corner. He's hit from behind and goes down. Penalty's going to be called against Marcus Ortiz. He was hit from behind, and as he was getting back up, the Birmingham player who hit him from behind tripped over his stick, and the penalty is against Marcus Ortiz. His second time to the box. Again, doesn't really agree with the call, but is going to have to take a seat in the Beyond Taboo Tattoo penalty box. This is Birmingham's 5th power play. The Mayhem have had just 1. So from the blue line, it's played by Karel Drahorid and given out to Harris on his right. Josh Harris from the right circle, put it to the goal line, stuff attempt, and Entma makes a paddle save, has to scramble back over, they score. Josh Harris, or do they? No, it was not in. It looked like it was in the net. But it was cleared promptly after it fluttered up in the air, and it looked like that had gone over Entma's blocker, but it had not, and play continues. I beg your pardon, no goal. We're 30 seconds into this Birmingham power play. The Mayhem have a 3-1 advantage over the visiting Birmingham Bulls. And now here's Josh Harris stepping into the deep slot with it. Lost it, and Urban wasted no time whipping it down the ice. Art Bray's got it on his tape. He will leave it for Karel Drahorid. Drahorid's pass is on the tape for Shaquille Marasti. A shot from the left wing coming from Cannon Piper misfires. The Mayhem were not able to clear the puck, however. Cannon Piper from the far corner. It's worked back from Marasti to the right point, and it's Mike Krokock with it. He gives it off for Piper, whose shot rattles off the backboards and stays in the offensive zone. Matt Fuller will slide it over to his right. Krokock giving it down the half wall for Cannon Piper. Krokock, right circle rather, sends it to the side of the net, and a stuff attempt by Fuller didn't work out. And now here comes Jimmy Soper on the counterattack, short-handed, cuts to the outside, has it on his backhand, and drives. Jimmy Soper will then just send it all the way back into his own zone to kill off as much time as he could. 24 seconds remain on this Mayhem penalty kill, brought to you by J&J's Heating and Air. They've had a busy night tonight. This is their 5th time in the box, 5th time on the PK rather, and so far they're 4 for 4. Birmingham with just a dozen seconds remaining and 5:45 to go in the second period. Here's Tony Lampo. He will chase it down in the left corner. Lampo delays, dekes out Urban, and slides a pass into the slot. Nobody was there. Ortiz is in a foot race, and Art Bray just way on top of his crease decides to cover that puck up and elude the danger. The Mayhem 5 for 5 on the night on the PK. Excellent job shorthanded this evening. You know what they say, your best penalty killer has got to be your goaltender, and Kevin Entma has had a spectacular game in net tonight. 5.5 remains in the second period. Birmingham with 3. I beg your pardon, Macon with 3, Birmingham with 1. Shots on goal fairly even. Right now they're showing 23-21 in favor of the home side. Josh Kuzno countered by Casey Kolzicki in the faceoff dot in the right circle here. Puck drops, Kolzicki wins the draw. Keplinger scrapping for it along the near half boards in the Birmingham zone. It trickles back out to the blue line. Rennie Hunter slides it over. It bounces off the bench boards, and a flying puck ends up at the bottom of section 107. And that's going to be a souvenir for a lucky fan in orange down there. The Neutral zone draw will take place in the face-off circle nearest where the puck flew out of play. Kuzno has a chance at a rematch against Kolsicki. Kuzno, a very solid face-off man, though tonight has not been his night. As Lampo drops it back, Alex Johnson's got it. He rattles it off the boards and out into the neutral zone. Rennie Hunter. Hunter, a native of Ebb and Flow First Nations in northern Manitoba. It's 2.5 hours northwest of Winnipeg. For those of you who are not familiar with Canadian geography, let's just say that's up there. And he's the first player ever from the history of his hometown to sign a professional contract. The Mayhem have just iced the puck. And we're going to head to our third media timeout of the second period. That icing call has been brought to you by Tropical Smoothie Cafe. We're happy to have you with us, folks, on the Mayhem Broadcast Network. We hope you've enjoyed the broadcast up till this point on SPHL Live, powered by Endeavor Streaming, and on YouTube. It's going to be our 4th of 4 home games to start the season, and then next weekend the Mayhem will make a very difficult, an infamously difficult road trip up to Central Illinois to square off against the undefeated Peoria Rivermen. They've only played one game up till this point, so it doesn't mean much, but they've got another game tonight. They're hoping to remain undefeated after tonight's tilt against the Evansville Thunderbolts, and they're off to a good start. They lead 1-0 against Jeff Bess and company. Huntsville up 3-1 over the Quad City Storm. Roanoke still trailing, but by a different scoreline. It's now 2-1 in favor of the Fayetteville Marksmen up at the Berglund Center in Roanoke, Virginia for the Rail Yard Dogs home opener. That out-of-town scoreboard update was brought to you by Hampton Inn and Suites. Crocock from the left point following an offensive zone face-off win by the Bulls. Put it in behind the Macon goal line. Jarrett Cupp recovers it for the Mayhem. Danny Caesar is able to advance one ahead. Keplinger's got it at the blue line. He sends it to Rennie Hunter, who backhands a pass off the skates of Cousineau. Hunter gets it right back and delivers it in behind the Birmingham cage. It's been worked up the wall onto the near side. Jarrett Cupp will just punch it back in behind the goal line again. Pass works its way out to Hunter near the right point. Slides it TDD. Cupp tries to float a shot towards the net. It gets blocked. And now it comes to Caesar, who backhands it off the side of the goal. It pinballs in front, and fortunately for Bray, there wasn't anybody there to jam home the rebound. A huge collision in the neutral zone, delivered by Jarrett Cupp on Mike Davis. There's a loose puck in the Birmingham slot, carried out of there by Matt Fuller, who will backhand it right to Josh Harris. He's just angled it off the glass, tapped off the stick of Keplinger. Now it's Perez slapping a shot on net, chest save by Art Bray. Puck's been cleared all the way down. This will be an icing call made against the Birmingham Bulls. That icing call has been brought to you by Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Art Bray, a St. Lawrence University grad, playing his first season in the SPHL. Been one of the hotter goaltenders to start the season. The Mayhem were not able to solve him during the preseason. He played half the game back on October 12th. The Mayhem didn't score a single goal on him. But tonight they've got 3. Barber had it escape his reach, and Nick Minerva will just drill it back in. Art Bray inside of his own trapezoid. Deals it to his left for Mike Crocock, who's under pressure. Perez will backhand it back towards the point. It's intercepted and taken out of there by Cannon Piper. Piper swivels in across the Macon blue line. He dips his shoulder and carries it into the far corner. Reinforcements arrive from the Birmingham bench. Piper's still got it on his stick, but he rolled it past the opposing blue line and back out to center ice. Lane Valamont sends a nice pass rink wide. Golka's shot gets blocked by Minerva's stick. Cole Golka in the far corner, dispossessed of it by Minerva. Minerva loses his stick, however. Golka will leave it now for Tony Lampo. Lampo slides the pass off the half wall on the near side. Kurbatov fires it into the opposite corner. Now it's played by Shaquille Marasti. He's checked. Loses the puck, but right to a teammate. Valamont steps into the left circle, tries to fling one back door. Pinballs off the half wall on the far side, and a slap shot from there gets blocked by a maze of bodies standing in front of Kevin Entma. The Mayhem not out of the woods yet as it rolls on net. Entma covers it in the blue paint and will take a whistle-stopping play. Lots of pushes and shoves down there after the stop. Nick Minerva right in the muck of things. 2:26 to go in the second period. Macon leading 3-1. Here on Disco Night. The next Macon home games will be Friday and Saturday, November 8th and 9th, as the Mayhem wrap up a 4-game stretch of games against the Peoria Rivermen. It will be a tough slew of contests against Jean-Guy Trudel's squad. November 1st and 2nd will be in Peoria. 8th and 9th will be here in Macon. The centering pass from the far corner doesn't work out as it pinballs off the side of the net. The Bulls pressing here for a goal that would bring them within 1. The long point shot gets blocked by the skates of Zach Urban, but it's recovered again by Birmingham. Fed back in behind the Macon net. Oleg Kalaman's got it, and the Russian-born defenseman clears it ahead to Soper. The Mayhem can't get it out. Zach Urban has to go get it in the far corner. The Mayhem have really struggled to clear the puck for the last minute or so. They've finally done so, and Urban will carry it out to the red line and float it into the right corner. There's a player down behind the play. Tony Lampo appears to be injured for Birmingham as he labors his way back to the Bulls bench. Caleb Cameron delivers a good-sized check. The Bulls back in control of it. As twisting with it now is Josh LaFrance. LaFrance slides one up ice. Jacob Barber enters the zone. He's onside. Harris left side drops it. And a shot from the left point coming from Alex Johnson is off the mark. Jacob Barber goes into the far corner to fight for it. It pops up above the right circle. Dropped off to the line and secured by Artem Kurbatov. Mayhem have cleared it this time. Kurbatov retreating to his own blue line to play it. He will slide it to Matt Fuller. Advances it as far as Barber. Barber's stood up but gets a second chance. This time he'll slide it to his right. Mike Davis on his off wing will drive it wide on Caesar. Ran out of room. The 22's still fighting for it on the far side. Taken by the one in white. Given back to the line. Fuller with a slap shot. Missing the right post. And from the far half wall, it's J.M. Piotrowski. He will slide it to his left. Matt Fuller tees it up and fires. Redirected wide. Bounces harmlessly into the corner. It's slapped at by Caesar all the way down. This will be an icing called against Macon. No, it was tipped. I beg your pardon. No icing. As it's played now by Shaquille Morasti of Birmingham. 30 seconds remain in the second period here. Birmingham needs a pair of goals at least in the next 20 and a half minutes. As they get an opportunity here, but the one-timer was fanned down by Shaquille Morasti. Puck's been cleared out to the red line. And a couple players go tumbling. Stephen Pirog loses his stick. Cannon Piper's pass across the ice deflects out of play. Good back check by Stathis Sumilidis. He got his stick in the passing lane and it flew out of play. That flying puck's been brought to you by Blues Painting and Home Repair. 8.3 seconds remain in the second period. The ensuing face-off will again take place in the Macon zone. Over the last 5 minutes or so, the Bulls have been buzzing. A lot of face-offs have taken place on the left side of your screen here. Stephen Pirog to take the draw against Josh Harris. The puck drops. Pirog wins the draw. And the puck's been cleared all the way down. One last shooting opportunity for Perez. He's going to run out of time. He threw it to the front of the net. It went off of a Birmingham skate and bounced in behind. That's done it for the first two-thirds of this one. The Mayhem building on their lead. They now have a 3-1 advantage over the Bulls through the first 40 minutes of play. The lone goal scorer in that middle stanza was Jarrett Cupp, the defenseman, the first defenseman to score a goal this season for the Mayhem. Just let it fly from the left point at the blue line, and Art Bray just couldn't stop it. I don't think he saw it. There were a lot of bodies standing in front of him. Jared Cupp did a good job getting it through the traffic. He's very good at that. And the Mayhem out shooting the Birmingham Bulls in that period, 16-8, doubling up on the Bulls in shots on goal. 24 total shots through the first 2 periods of play for the Bulls, 25 for Macon, so it's been fairly even in that department. And Kevin Etma again having an outstanding night in goal. Etma, the Macon netminder, having stopped 23 of the 24 shots he's faced. An excellent third tilt, though he will not be getting the shutout tonight. He is certainly on pace to at least getting one of the 3 stars of tonight's game if he keeps up what he's been doing. The Bulls have a very daunting task lying ahead of them. They've got to solve a goaltender who's been red hot, and they've got to do it twice in a pretty limited time frame, just 20 minutes to crack a very tough goaltender. As long as the Mayhem do not quit in front of him, things are looking up for the home side. We're going to play back the remainder of that archive of line change, folks. We hope you enjoy it. After which we'll have our final intermission, or rather out-of-town scoreboard update for you before third period hockey begins. All that and more coming your way next on the Mayhem Broadcast Network. 3-1 your score in favor of Macon. We hope you've enjoyed the broadcast up till this point, folks, on SBHL Live, powered by Endeavor Streaming and on YouTube. In the meantime, we're going to take a timeout here on the Mayhem Broadcast Network. Keep it right here, folks. We won't be gone for long.
Another Sean question in there?
All right, it looks like DJ's got one here. Sean asks, Stathis still has an A, is still the top-line winger, and is still a talented veteran, but does this season feel different than previous ones, as a lot around him has changed, line mates, other leaders on the team, etc.? Sure, yeah. Stathis still has an A, is still the top-line winger, and is still a talented veteran, but does this season feel different than previous ones, as a lot around him has changed, line mates, other leaders on the team, etc.?
A little different, but I used to play with Steven Pierre for 2 years, basically. So me and him are playing together again, and it doesn't really feel any different than what the chemistry we used to have.
Right.
It feels pretty much the same.
Now, did you guys play on a line together in the 2017 season when the team won the championship? Were you often paired up?
Pretty much the whole year.
Really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I guess as a follow-up question to that, how did you enjoy playing with Darius Davidson along with Steven Pirog as a younger player? I think he's probably the same age you were when you came into the league.
Oh, it's good. Both me and Pierre really enjoy playing with him. He's both him and Pierre really fast skaters, which I need in my line because I'm not a fastest skater.
Mm-hmm.
So I really enjoyed that.
Jimmy seemed to enjoy you humbling yourself there a little bit.
Hey, Jimmy. On Saturday, you were in the game's second star. How do you feel the team as a whole were able to grind out those 2 goals, especially the second one, which you were the benefactor of?
Yeah, I mean, we had chances during the game, and I think it was actually on a line change, and Pirog, and they were doing a great job. I'm not sure who else was with them, but cycling in the corner, and I just kind of found a spot, and he made a great pass and allowed me to get the shot off. So no, it was a great job, and like I said, we had a lot of chances, and that one happened to go for us.
This other question he has here is for everyone. He wants to know, what is your favorite way to pass the time on long road trips? TV, movies, cards, movies, TV shows, what card games, etc.
Well, for me on the bus, it's just movies. I got like the bed that's right in front of the TV, so with my bunk, I'm just kind of focused on that, or doing some work, I guess. Read a little bit. I don't read like a lot, but I'll read a book here and there.
Yeah.
Not a reader.
You read the programs. I was debating whether to put that in because I texted him, "What's your favorite book?" And he said, "I don't read." I was like, "So do you want me to put that you don't read as your favorite book, or should I just leave that blank?" Decided to put it in there. People seem to like it. What was his? Oh, that's right. Yeah. That's a good answer. How about you guys?
On the bus, yeah, same thing. Movies, TV shows, pretty much any card game. If there's money involved, it's a lot better, but just always competing.
Right. Yeah. No ping pong table on the bus, unfortunately.
No, we might have to set one up in the trailer, though.
Sumi, how about you?
Yeah, the same thing, just movies.
Somebody on the team's got to be cards players, I would think.
It's weird. Like, I know when I played, there would be some heavy
Yeah.
card games going on, euchre or poker and all that stuff. So
Right.
since I've been coaching, I don't know if it's just these players now, but they rarely play cards. They're on their phones or and stuff like that. So, but I don't know. Maybe this year we can get those guys going in the back, play some cards.
Really a generational difference, maybe.
Yeah, I guess I'd win a lot of money on road trips back then. So I don't know.
Going into this weekend's games, what are you stressing towards the team that they need to improve on the most?
Just to build off that last game, I thought that was, like I said, holding that team under 20 shots and playing a good team defense was huge for us. So I'm going to keep stressing that. I thought we did a good job getting pucks to the net also and bodies, something that we didn't do enough last year. You know, I think I got a couple bigger guys this year too. So, and some more guys on the back end that actually get the puck to the net. So I'm just going to keep on the guys doing the same thing and keep battling like they did the last game, and we'll win a lot of hockey games this year.
The last question he had was, this is for everyone, what's the most fun thing you did during the off season?
Most fun thing, well, the off season kind of goes by pretty quick when you're working 6 days a week. So I think the funnest part of the off season is just catching up with your family and friends, and I guess seeing my dog. That was probably the biggest part, funnest part, and probably the part I miss most.
Yeah, probably just spending time with my family. But at the same time, every time I go home for 4 months, after like the first month, I'm pretty excited to come back. And and then probably a lot of time spending with my dog. I adopted a dog in Macon, and then I brought her with me back home. So I was spending a lot of time with her too.
I'm glad you were able to get Bella on the plane, because I know you were having a hard time in the beginning getting her a ticket and everything. Or
It was pretty complicated,
Yeah.
but we made it work.
That's awesome. All right, guys, any other questions? Back's been quiet tonight. Shane, you look like you're just about ready to let loose. Not yet. All right.
We got one.
Okay. Yeah, Bill.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's not going to pick up for the YouTube channel. I'm sorry. Yeah. Sorry about that.
And this is for soaps. Your father was in town this past weekend, and I don't know if a lot of people got to see Soap Senior, but they look a lot alike. A lot alike. Could you share a story that you and your dad played on people where maybe you were him and he was you?
Yeah, we've never actually really tried one of those stories, but no, we do get asked all the time, what's the difference in age, and, I always question if I look 50 or not, but I hope not, so I'm not sure who's getting the compliment and who's getting roasted, but yeah, I guess we could play one of those tricks.
What was that?
No, I'm not saying there's anything wrong, just when you're 24, it kind of hurts,
Double agree.
Yeah, English isn't the first language in our apartment. I kind of carry that part, and there's a lot of different foods being cooked, so just trying to get used to that. But no, it's pretty funny fighting for the remote. Everyone has a different taste in what they want to watch, but they're all becoming Leaf fans, so it's pretty good.
All right, this one's for all the guys on stage, but outside your own favorite NHL team, what would you say your favorite player in the league is?
Probably Milan Lucic, Calgary Flames.
Yeah, I'd say John Tavares, Leafs.
Favorite player right now, probably Nathan McKinnon.
I'll go with Jonathan Taves.
I said outside your favorite team.
Oh, I'm sorry. Patrice Bergeron, Boston.
Yeah, that's a good choice. I guess you got to pick again, eh? Because that's your.
Oh, yeah.
My go-to.
Yeah, that's right.
I'd say Leo Komarov on the Islanders.
Trying to kiss up
Got
to you,
my hopes up
get some more ice time, maybe.
Right.
All right. Anything else, guys? Okay, I think we're going to move on to the last section of the show here. Coach, we've got Roanoke on Friday this weekend coming up, Birmingham on Saturday. One team still searching for its first win, the other hoping to sort of reinstate what happened during the preseason game. We saw the Bulls in that exhibition game. Is the opportunity for a rematch that much more exciting now that you've got your roster finalized to take those guys on again?
Yeah, definitely. Just them being a top three team in the league, and seeing what I seen in our preseason game and having our full roster now, it's going to be a fun hockey game. It's going to be high paced, lots of energy. So, but we've got to take care of Friday, which is Roanoke first, and that's going to be another hungry team that hasn't won a game yet. And I'm sure they're getting drilled by their coach right now and video and stuff, so they'll be well prepared. And we just got to make sure that we're ready right off the bat.
Yeah, we can definitely expect to see a hungry Roanoke team on Friday night, having just dropped 2 games down in Pensacola. They got 1 point on the weekend. And then Birmingham, of course, in the preseason game, definitely pretty impressive, even without Maverick Parks, with former SPHL goaltender of the year having retired. They still look pretty darn good in net, I would say. So, Coach, that Saturday night also happens to be disco night, by the way. Friday is Harley-Davidson night. Have you got your 70s wig and suit picked out yet?
I don't, man. That would actually be pretty funny.
You should.
I'll see what I can do with the afro and the pick or something like that. That'd be pretty funny.
Yes. That's a good question. I would direct that to Zach Smith. He's our director of game ops and community relations. He could answer that for you. I think it's a good idea. Right. Definitely. I know that we're gonna definitely encourage people to bring their leather jackets out to that game for sure. Leather, is it leather vests? No. Right. Okay. All right, guys. Last question, as always, is going to be a trivia question. This one's pretty tough, so I'll be really impressed if anyone's able to get it here. But question is this: both of these players, they played on ECHL teams last season. Can you name which teams they played for? You've got the state. Yes. No. He's got his lifeline out. Yeah. Nope.
You guys need a hint?
You guys have been getting. You guys have been getting statuses.
Their jerseys are black and gold. Black and gold.
Well, whoever can guess Soper's, whatever Soper played, they win.
They're affiliated with the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yep.
You only get one more hint after this.
Do you want to give the last hint?
They won the championship last year
Yeah,
on the
there
East
you go.
Coast.
Yep. Oh, okay. Now it's a race. It's a race to Google. It was too good of a question. You guys are too smart. Last year they were just too easy. No, think the opposite side, the opposite coast. It's in Canada.
Oh, that was gonna be my next.
Another hint. Nope. Other coast. East Coast. Yeah, East Coast. What's that? No. It's their affiliate in the ECHL. You're getting closer. Yes.
There you go.
There we go.
Newfoundland.
Is it Newfoundland or Newfoundland? Newfoundland?
Newfoundland.
That's what I thought too. All right, well, congratulations. These two are going to sign a puck for you. What's that? Yeah, he did, yeah. So we're going to get these two to sign a puck for you. In the meantime, guys, thanks so much for coming to our second episode of Season 2 of Line Change. Newfoundland, however you say it. Newfoundland Growlers. We hope you've enjoyed your meals, and we hope to see you again next Tuesday night. It's going to be 6 p.m. Every Tuesday right here at the Rookery. So thank you, guys. We'll see you next week.
Okay, welcome back, everyone. Apologies for that pretty long delay there. And a few loose ends to tie up here at the Macon Centreplex. But all is well as the Mayhem prepare for period 3. We've got about 2 minutes or so left before third period action is underway. Plenty of time for another Hampton Inn & Suites out-of-town scoreboard update. So let's take a look around the league and see what we've got. 8 teams playing tonight, 4 games going on. Peoria up 2-0 now over the Evansville Thunderbolts. Quad City still trailing against Huntsville, but it's a narrower margin now. 3-2 the score in favor of the visiting defending champs up in Quad City tonight. The Storm hoping to sweep the Huntsville Havoc. The Havoc hoping to get the series split. Either way, they've got at least a point in their hands. Last night, they took the Storm to a shootout and fell by a 3-2 final score. 3-2 is the score now, except it's the other way around. Fayetteville up 2-1 over Roanoke on the road at Berglund Center. The Rail Yard Dogs with a tough opening night matchup going up against what looks to be another much improved Fayetteville squad. And I say another because they were a much improved squad last season. And now they look even better. They're looking to become 3-0-1 to start the season, taking 7 points out of 8 if they can hold on to their lead. The Rail Yard Dogs, of course, having played in this building, which is a notoriously tough building to play in, ask just about anybody, and traveling 8 hours back up to Virginia to open their season. So a tough go of it for Roanoke, but from a business side of things, it makes sense. That's the game to go to. Saturday nights typically have a better attendance than Friday nights, and there's no other game to compete with on the weekend, so I'm sure they've got a tremendous crowd up at Berglund. As a matter of fact, I'm going to take a look right now at what the registered number is. They don't have it up there yet. I'm sure they will before long. Always do pretty good as far as attendance goes, the Roanoke Rail Yard Dogs. The Mayhem with a good crowd on hand tonight as well. Excellent atmosphere here on Disco Night, Disco/70s Night. I was hoping, I'm sure you heard in one of my questions, one of the last questions I asked Leo Thomas in our last episode of Line Change was, do you plan on wearing a wig or a fancy suit or anything to represent the 70s? I'm a little bit disappointed in Leo Thomas's lack of attention to detail in terms of the 70s regalia, but it seems to have worked out for him as the teams played hard for him all night long. 3-1 the score in favor of Macon as we kick off period 3. Danny Caesar chips the puck into the offensive zone. It's been steered aside by the Birmingham netminder Art Bray into the corner on the far side, and we get a whistle stopping play. Looks like the puck might have gone off the protective netting near the far corner there. There's going to be a face-off in that right circle in the Birmingham end. Another quick whistle to start the period, just 13 seconds into it. The Mayhem with a Country Financial Insurance lead to work with. 3-1 is the score. It's been scooped up by Matt Fuller behind his own net. With the words of Jamie Hicks ringing in their ears, we'll see what the Bulls bring to start the third stanza. Here is Mike Krokock. He has dumped it in. Pinballs off the right corner boards. Entma wheels it around to the far half wall near the Earthall Chiropractic Dasher. The Bulls have it out at center now as Artem Kurbatov twists it away. It's been intercepted by Sean Lynch. Urban was in on a delayed offside, and Lynch wisely just dumped it in, allowing for a line change. Play continues here as it's played behind the Birmingham cage by Matt Fuller. Cleared out into the neutral zone. It bounces near the Mayhem logo at center. Flown on net from there by Sumilidis and stopped by Art Bray. He was out on top of his crease, made the save, conceded no rebound. 19:06 to go in the third. 3-1 Macon is your score. Stathis Sumilidis, the closest thing the Mayhem have to a hero from last night's game. Games don't really have heroes when the team loses, but Sumilidis was one because he got the team a point in the last 3.6 seconds by scoring his first goal on the season. As a result, the Mayhem have extended their point-scoring streak to now 3 games. Every game so far this season, they've gotten at least one in the standings. Josh Harris whiffs on a couple of passes, recovers a third time, and drops it on back. Lane Valamont's got it over there on that far side. Rather, that was Josh LaFrance. He sustained a check. Ice might be particularly slippery at the moment, and that makes sense after a fresh Zamboni cleaning, but players whiffing on passes left and right here, particularly on the left side of the ice. Jimmy Soper steals the puck. He centers it for Cameron, bounces off his stick. Mike Davis will commence the Birmingham counterattack as it's skated on the left side by Barber. Gave it away. Rennie Hunter has just cleared it out to the red line in the neutral zone. DDD pass this way on the right side. Karel Drahorid flings it off the Texas Roadhouse Dasher, wide of Kevin Entma's net. Now Pirog will chisel one ahead, and it's Jimmy Soper who takes over, rattles it clockwise around the boards. It's halted by Art Bray behind his net. Soper delivers a big hit into the end wall on Lane Valamont. Loose puck skitters out in front of the net. Turnaround shot. Ortiz scores! It's his second of the game. His 4th goal on the season. The Mayhem have a 4-1 lead. Marcus Ortiz cannot be stopped. He was one of the players to watch tonight for the Mayhem, and rightfully so. A point in every game this season. That streak has continued. He's getting pretty close to tying a franchise record. Marcus Ortiz with a point in 4 straight. He does that again. He ties a franchise record. Right now the point scoring streak belongs to Jake Trask, who scored at least a point in 8 consecutive games dating from October 20th of last year to November 9th. J.M. Piotrowski, who's been all but irrelevant to tonight's game, and he was somebody the Mayhem knew they had to watch out for, and they have done that with aplomb tonight. Number 21 in white has had an extremely quiet game by his standards. The Naperville, Illinois native, Yale University graduate, had a terrific start to his campaign, but has been held scoreless tonight. Cole Golka's dispossessed of it by a back-checking Stephen Pirog, who passes it to himself off the half wall on the far side. He will carry into the far corner and be sized up by Cannon Piper. Still the lone Birmingham goal scorer tonight. Pirog drops it. Sumilidis shoots from a tough angle. Art Bray was square to it and makes the save. Stathis Sumilidis last season played 17 games in the ECHL between Florida and Norfolk, the Everblades and the Admirals. Caleb Cameron, Jimmy Soper being given assists on Marcus Ortiz's goal. Sumalitis, an alternate captain for the second consecutive year, demonstrating his leadership qualities not just in the goal-scoring department, but in the fighting department as well. Centering pass for Soper. He hacked it wide of the right post, and the puck rattles its way over to Mike Davis on the left wing side. He fires it on net from the neutral zone, and it's denied easily by Kevin Etma. Left circle shot blocked. Here come the Mayhem. It's Caleb Cameron. Long pass on the tape. Ortiz rifles it from the right circle. It sails over the net off the backboards, and Soper will center it. Ortiz whacked it at the goal. Art Bray is out on top of the blue paint to make the stop. 16:20 to go in the third period. 4-1 Macon is your score. This is the largest lead the Mayhem have had all season. Him winning the offensive zone face-off as Jarrett Cupp punched it to the bottom of the left circle where it was twisted through the goal mouth by Sean Lynch. Sliding puck reaches Rennie Hunter now in his own zone. He will give it now to Jarrett Cupp on his left. Cupp flutters it to his right. Caesar hammers it just wide of the goal from the neutral zone. Banks off the board. Sean Lynch rattles it back around and behind the Birmingham net. Speared away from Lynch by Josh Harris. Lynch gets it right back. Outer hash marks near side. And he will just redeliver it in behind the Birmingham cage, and it's punched ahead. Mike Davis with an attempt to advance it. He succeeds, gets it to Barber, who twists with it. Jacob Barber couldn't filter a shot through. It was blocked by Stephen Pirog. Lynch feeds Jarrett Cupp in stride. He's dispossessed of it by a good stick from Alex Johnson, the South Dakota native. Spinorama pass by Pirog. Dangerous out in front, but sprawling on it to make the glove snag was Art Bray. It was a Savardian spinorama by Stephen Pirog, who pulled off the move nicely and then flung it to the front of the net. Art Bray was able to track it down before Cameron could get a shot off there. Perez, rather, who was lurking around the goal. For offensive zone faceoffs, Leo Thomas and Stephen Pirog have decided to mix things up. Perez taking the draw, and Pirog setting up shop along the left wing side to open up the one-timer option. Perez very interchangeable between left wing and center, which does nothing but increase his value to this team, as if he didn't bring enough to the table already in the short time that he's been here. Puck's been whacked out of the defensive zone by Caleb Cameron and out into the Birmingham end. It's played by Alex Johnson in his own zone. He flings it off the stick of Marcus Ortiz, who recovers it. Then he reverses it. Oleg Kalaman with a long wrister. Blocker save is made in goal by Art Bray. Kalaman goes in forechecking, trying to force the issue. Josh LaFrance gets some help. J.M. Pietrowski backhands it out of the zone. It's flung towards the goal from center ice. Etma had some difficulty tracking it, and a lot of allotted time allowed Kevin Etma to play the puck down without a whistle. Zach Urban's got it behind his own goal. Oleg Kalaman, the Russian blue liner, slides it all the way down the ice. No icing. Caleb Cameron was first there. Gets the puck from Fuller, then is hauled down to the ice, and finally, a penalty is going to be called against Birmingham. They've gone well over 20 minutes without a call against them. And the Mayhem will get another opportunity here on the man advantage. Cameron, I believe, was tripped, and that's the call. Matt Fuller to the box. Cameron drawing a tripping penalty. And Fuller, for the second time this season, will go to the sin bin. Macon do its second power play of the night. The Mayhem on the power play. For some reason, last night's power play goal did not count as a power play goal. It was registered as an even strength goal. And I'll have to see with the SPHL Commissioner Doug Price about getting that fixed on Monday morning. But right now it shows the Mayhem as having just a 9.1% power play, which would be true if that goal was not scored on the power play, but it was. The Mayhem with 2 PPGs on the season only have credit for 1 at the moment. So the power play statistic a little bit misleading. But we will get that fixed on Monday. We submit all the stats changes. The Mayhem going to work on the man advantage, trying to build on an already substantial lead as Caesar hammers a one-timer from the left circle, well wide of the right elbow of the net. This Mayhem power play is brought to you by Wild Wing Cafe. Penalty is against Matt Fuller for tripping on Caleb Cameron. Rennie Hunter right up the middle. Flutters one into the left corner. Josh Keplinger is first there. Keplinger angles it off the half wall, back to the line. Soper returning it. Keplinger's got it near the right point, up into the deep slot. Rennie Hunter now. Keplinger outer hash marks, right circle. Ricochets it back off the wall. Rennie Hunter returns it to him. Keplinger above the right circle. And the puck slides off the half wall now. Caesar receives it from Rennie Hunter. Caesar sends it off the backboards. Jimmy Soper looks to the front of the net, puts it over. Ortiz was in too deep, couldn't get a shot off as it ricochets inside of the trapezoid where it's been cleared all the way down the ice. Macon's power play unit has hit the bench, 3/5 of them at least, for a line change. And now the remaining 40% of that unit will skate to the Macon bench. Perez across the blue line in full control. He drops it off back to the line. It's picked off, and here come the Bulls. Casey Kolsicki, short-handed breakaway left side. Kolsicki to the backhand. Glove save by Entma, but Kolsicki was hooked on the way through, and a penalty will be called. This will be a penalty shot. Casey Kolsicki will get a penalty shot as he was hooked on the way through on a breakaway, and Zach Urban is arguing the case, but it doesn't matter. The Bulls will get an opportunity to draw to within 2. Still with plenty of time left in the third period. The last time the Mayhem allowed a penalty shot was on March 9th of 2019 against the Fayetteville Marksmen on the road. It was Zach White who was denied by Ian Silvas. First penalty shot the Mayhem have conceded in 7 months. Casey Kolsicki still looking for his first point on the season, first registered point at least, as he didn't get credit for the assist he had in this game earlier. But he can get his first goal right here. Casey Kolsicki, one-on-one against Kevin Entma, who's been lights out tonight. Serpentine-like route as he weaves to the outside in the right circle. He fakes, he shoots. Entma the blocker save. It was very good patience by Kolsicki, but he didn't really sell anything. He was not fooling Entma, that's for sure. Good puck control and good poise by Kolsicki, but he didn't do a good enough job of selling the shot to his backhand. Entma knew what he was doing all along. Pretty telegraphed, and Zach Urban still arguing the call. And just getting some closer, I suppose, the Mayhem defenseman. Kevin Entma with an enormous momentum-turning save to maintain Macon's 3-goal advantage. 4-1 is your score. 13 minutes remain in the closing period. Zach Urban down the left side. He gains the blue line, passes it to himself off the half wall. Urban then leaves it back to the line. Soper threw it to nobody in particular. Minerva will just backpedal in the neutral zone in front of his own bench. Will advance it to Caleb Cameron. Cameron flings a pass in the direction of Marcus Ortiz. He will flutter it back into the slot, goes over Cameron's glove, and it's been cleared all the way down. After it, Shaquille Marasti. He's pickpocketed by Minerva. Time is all but expired on this power play, and it looks as though the Mayhem will drop to 0 for 2 on the night. That power play was brought to you by Wild Wing Cafe. Minerva to Cup on his left. Cup, the first defenseman to score a goal this season. Krokock turns it over in his own zone. Good forecheck by Cousineau. Cup's one-timer missed the net, missed the right post. Cousineau's now after it after Renee Hunter sent it around the end wall. And Cup had it bounce over his stick. He retreats out to center. Cousineau will flutter it into the Birmingham end. It's been whipped all the way down. This would have been icing, but Kevin Entma played the puck. He will now leave it for Rennie Hunter. I think the Mayhem are at the point now where time is more valuable than icings. They just want to eat up the remaining 12 minutes as quickly as they can, hence Entma's decision to play the puck. A wrist shot by Hunter is snagged by the glove hand of Art Bray. We will get a face-off in the Birmingham zone. And Stephen Pirog will take the draw. He's been pretty good in the circle so far tonight. He wins another one. Sumilidis one-hands it back to the line for his fellow veteran Zach Urban, whose long shot is easily stopped by Art Bray. And some discussion happening after the save made by Bray on that long point shot from Urban. That's the exact same spot from which he released a wrister yesterday, right in front of the Macon Swirls dasher, near the opposing bench, the Roanoke bench. He just flung it at the net. He was as far away from the goal as he possibly could have been while still being in the offensive zone. He just got it to the net. Sumulidis located the rebound and just whacked it past Stephen Klein to tie the game in the closing 3.6 seconds to force overtime. That goal proved pivotal as the Mayhem were able to get at least a point from that game, despite the shootout loss. Though a penalty is upcoming against Macon. It's going to be a hold against Sumulidis. And Stathis will take a seat in the Beyond Taboo Tattoo penalty box for the 6th time tonight. The Bulls go to the power play. Birmingham's power play was respectable coming into this game, but they've dropped 5 straight tonight. A lot of credit has to be given to the Macon penalty kill. Cameron taking a defensive zone draw, getting the job done as the puck exits the Macon zone. Here's Artem Kurbatov for Mike Davis. Davis turns his attention to the Macon zone. He centers it through the blue paint. And Josh Harris will give it back to Davis, whacked away from him by Larry Smith and all the way down. Cutting it down is Artem Kurbatov, who takes a big hit by Jimmy Soper. Kurbatov a bit disoriented after that check. Then Soper throws another big body check. This time it was on Mike Krokock. He loves to throw the body around. Jimmy Soper last season leading the Mayhem forwards in hits. Here's Kurbatov at the right point. Harris in the deep slot. Josh Harris skating wide on Sean Lynch will shoot from a tough angle that skitters through the goal mouth and well wide. It ricochets back out to the red line. Artem Kurbatov has it. Punches one ahead for Barber. One-handed away by Cousineau, and Lynch finishes it off and dumps it into the zone. Sean Lynch with an economics degree from Utica College. During his senior year, scored at nearly a point per game pace, 27 points in 28 games played. Here's a wrist shot into the glove of Entma, coming from Shaquille Morasti. Playing in his first game as a Birmingham Bull. Wasted no time making his presence known. Got into a fight with Stathis Sumulidis in the first period. Caused the Czech power forward to lose his balance, which doesn't happen easily. Perhaps Shaquille Morasti instated into this game by Jamie Hicks to bring a little sandpaper to this Birmingham lineup. We're nearly halfway through the third period. The Mayhem still with a 4-1 advantage. The Bulls have not scored since the first. As Fuller does well to backhand a pass along the blue line right to Krokock. It's tapped along the half wall up to Cannon Piper, who salvages possession, gets it right back, and from the right circle, flutters a one-timer towards the goal. Entma blocked it, and the second shot went way wide. Tony Lampo had an opportunity, couldn't capitalize. The Mayhem have cleared it. And Birmingham will get one last rush on this power play. This Mayhem penalty kill has been brought to you by J&J's Heating and Air. It's been perfect tonight, and again has looked spectacular. Nearly went perfect last night, but for 14 seconds. Golka's shot from the outer hash marks of the right circle is denied by Entma. And the timekeeper generously allowing Sumulidis to exit the box. Looked like there might have been 1 second left, but another second had ticked off the clock. So the Mayhem have officially gone 6 for 6 on the night on the PK. Splendid while shorthanded, and were it not for the play of their penalty kill units, folks, this would be a different game, because anytime you go to the box 6 times in a game against a pretty tough power play, you're playing with fire. And the Mayhem, led by the efforts of Kevin Entma, have done an outstanding job of keeping Birmingham's power play in check. So far, folks, without a doubt, this has been Kevin Entma's best outing. Coming into this game, he had a lot of competition in terms of his best game so far this season. Save percentage just below .940. After this game, if he does not allow another one, I would venture to... I'm no math expert, but common sense would dictate that his save percentage would be even higher than .940 if he does not allow another goal for the rest of this game. 9:24, the amount of time remaining on the clock. Still plenty of time, but Birmingham with a mountain to climb here. Casey Kolzicki, who was denied on the penalty shot by Kevin Entma earlier in this period, after generating a shorthanded breakaway with his blazing speed. J.M. Piotrowski, who's been completely silenced by the Mayhem tonight. Kolsicki is slammed into the half wall by Oleg Kalaman and tossed around like a rag doll. It's been fired around the boards by Zach Urban. And with a burst of speed, Daniel Perez breaks free down the right side, flutters a pass over, hoping for Sumulidis. Good idea with the saucer pass, but it was just out of his reach. And now it's Lane Valamont turning back with it. Danny Perez in on the forecheck. Perez continued his goal streak by scoring back in the first period of this game. He's got a goal in both games so far since joining the Mayhem. Here's a shot by Keplinger that rattles off the outside of the left post. Keplinger then puts it in behind the Birmingham cage. The Bulls have gotten it out past their own blue line. Huge hit in the neutral zone by Marcus Ortiz. Clean check on Josh LaFrance by Marcus Ortiz. Then he whacks a puck out of midair with his stick. What a night Ortiz has had. 2 goals, 4 penalty minutes. And he's been all over the place. Strange looking play there as Art Bray was 5-holed by his own teammate, but the puck went out the other side harmlessly. Josh Keplinger will rattle it into the Birmingham zone. Bray will pass it with his forehand out to the far half wall. You didn't see Kuzno there to pick it off. Josh Kuzno, right circle, reverses it down to Sean Lynch, had it pried off his stick. Jarrett Cupp covers ground, picks up the puck, and he banks it off of a Birmingham skate coming off of a line change. Now it's Barber on the counterattack. Fed his pass through the goal mouth and wide. Caesar can't clear it past Harris. Gets a second chance at it, turned it over at the line. Harris coughs it up. Kuzno with a good stick, and it's been fired back into the zone. Bounces strangely off of a stanchion. Cupp got possession, and with 7:10 to go in the third period, will take his time with it behind the Macon net. Rennie Hunter slides it up the adjacent wing. It's advanced by a diving Pirog, too far for Lynch. And now here's Connor Piper. Cannon Piper, I beg your pardon. He has advanced it as far as Cole Golka. Golka turning with it near the blue line, pivoting right circle, fires a shot. Entma the save. It bounces in behind the net. Cannon Piper's got it. Still the lone goal scorer for Birmingham. And Entma makes a save with his paddle down and covers it up with his glove. 6:39 to play in the third. 4-1 Macon is your score. Cannon Piper was teammates with Daniel Perez back at the University of Maine for the past 2 seasons. He's a Shattuck St. Mary's product. Lots of NHL stars coming out of that program. Jonathan Taves, Sidney Crosby, Zach Parise, and others who were products of the Shattuck St. Mary's development program. Zach Urban will feed Josh Keplinger on the left wing. He chips it into Birmingham territory. Daniel Perez for Josh Keplinger in the left corner. Keplinger from a very sharp angle was not able to beat Art Bray, who knew exactly what he was doing when facing that shot. Keplinger, a sniper by trade, knew that if he had a shot on goal from there, he had a chance of scoring, but Bray played it perfectly. Here's J.M. Pietrowski. He leaves it for Mike Krokock into the zone. Turned over to Ortiz, who springs a pass along. Good area pass to get it to Caleb Cameron, joined by Kalaman. The two of them crisscross into the zone. Backdoor pass by Cameron. Kalaman from point-blank range can't tuck it home as a loose puck is whacked off of a Birmingham stick. And now here comes Birmingham's Casey Kolsicki, who is stymied by Larry Smith. Smith excellent with his stick defensively. Marcus Ortiz squeezes by a check from Lampo, the Finnish power forward in his first season in North America. Now it's J.M. Pietrowski with a wrister. Waffle boarded by Entma. Left half wall, turned at the net again. Pietrowski was searching for the rebound off the Casey Kolsicki shot, but none was there. Now from center ice, Alex Johnson will pivot and rattle it back into Macon territory as we're slowly approaching the three-quarter mark of this final period. Jimmy Soprik kicks it to his stick, drops it on back. Nick Minerva with the breakout pass. Up the far wing, Danny Caesar twists it ahead. Josh Kuzno steps in across the Birmingham line. Drives it wide on Kolsicki, turns. Will slide it back to the blue line. It's picked off, and here come the Bulls on the counterattack. Right across the blue line skates Mike Davis. He will leave it off for Johnson, whose wrister is into the glove of Kevin Entma. This will be our final media timeout of the third period, final media timeout of the game. And barring a miraculous comeback from Birmingham, the Mayhem will take 3 points out of 4 for the second consecutive weekend. If the score holds, the Mayhem will have taken 6 points out of their first 8 available. They've been in every game they have played so far this season and have looked extremely sharp to start their 5th anniversary campaign. So crazier things have happened than this. But the Bulls have got to score, and they've got to score in bunches over the course of the next 4 minutes and 50 seconds. This is a very talented offensive group, but the Mayhem have really dug in defensively, particularly on the penalty kill tonight, which has been lights out. Fuller down the right side. He shovels a backhand pass through the slot out to the circle, and an attempted toe drag by Lane Valamont fails as it's collected in the neutral zone by Matt Fuller. Barber saw the danger as Fuller nearly lost the puck, but his back check was irrelevant as Fuller recovered in time. Now it's Barber, right circle. He will give it down to his captain Harris, who fed one through the slot out to the left point, where it's salvaged by Mike Krokock and delivered in behind the net yet again. Mike Davis has it from the corner, centers it. Etma with a point-blank save. Another stop by the Macon netminder, this time on defenseman Lane Valamont. Folks, the Bulls have tried everything. They've tried getting it to the point. They've tried screen shots. They've tried centering passes, point-blank shots, wraparounds, sharp angle shots, rebound shots, you name it. Every possible way to score has been nullified tonight by Kevin Etma. The only time he was beaten was on a point-blank backhand shot by Cannon Piper way back in the first period. As Etma makes another save, he lands on his derriere, but the puck was cleared in time. 4 minutes remain here. Foot race is on. Excellent hustle by Perez. He's able to outrace Kurbatov. He centers. Sumalitis wide open. Blocker save made by Art Bray. That hustle by Daniel Perez nearly gave the Mayhem a 5th goal. At the very least, it nullified what would have been an icing call. Kurbatov turns with it. Artem Kurbatov from the country of Georgia. This is his first game played in the state of Georgia. I'm sure it's quite different over there in his home country than it is here in the state of Georgia. As J.M. Piotrowski will chip it in past Oleg Kalaman. He is sized up by the big Russian and taken into the corner wall. Soper leaves it. Kalaman gets it to Cameron, who just airmails one probably 100 feet in the air. And it lands near Ortiz, who has a no-look backhand between the legs pass, didn't work out. Rescued by Kalaman at the left point. Soper helps him advance it down to Ortiz in the corner. Marcus Ortiz, already with a 2-goal game, is brought down to the ice in the near half wall. And the puck is sent into the slot, intercepted by Lane Valamont, who has cleared one ahead. Lampo was the intended target, never reached him. Cameron clears it over a jumping Johnson, and it's Soper who will rattle it around the end wall. Out to the far half board. Caesar put it off of a Birmingham stick. Recovering it in the neutral zone was Larry Smith, who has dumped it back in. Lane Valamont's got it with 2 minutes and 36 seconds remaining in this game. His team trailing by a trio of goals. Josh Harris floats it down into the adjacent corner. Larry Smith is first there. He will backhand one around to the far half wall. One-handed further by Kuzno, who's got a step, could get a 2-on-1. Excellent back check, however, nullified that opportunity by Birmingham's J.M. Piotrowski. Now it's Matt Fuller in his own zone. Slaps it up to Harris. Here's Barber. He coughs it up. Pirog ahead for Keplinger, who just whacks it into Birmingham territory. Played to Fuller again. Keplinger forces a turnover, but loses the puck in the pads of Bray. Keplinger's got it again from the near corner. He's surrounded on all sides by Bulls. In close quarters, he's able to bank it back to the point. Rennie Hunter with a wrist shot that ricochets just wide, nearly went in. And Danny Perez steps in to fight for the loose puck along the near half wall. 90 seconds remain. Perez back to the point. Hunter put it in behind the net. Steven Pirog's got it on his backhand. He will chip it back to the blue line. Zach Urban, head fake. Sends it down the boards, and it's reversed further now for Perez in the far corner. He is tripped up. Tries to get back onto his skates, but there's a Birmingham Bull laying on top of him. Another opportunity. Pirog dishes it off. Hunter unleashes a shot, and it's blocked. That one had to hurt. Mike Davis got in the way of that blast by Rennie Hunter. Steven Pirog just fed him a cupcake to hammer at the net as hard as he could. And Rennie Hunter's got a bomb of a shot, and everyone here in Macon would love to see him use it a little bit more often. I'm sure he's being encouraged by Ryan Michael during practice sessions to shoot a little bit more. The Bulls caught on an offside, 39 seconds, and the Mayhem will win their second game of the season. Will improve to 2-0-2 in the next 39 seconds. Rennie Hunter, obviously in his first professional season, doesn't want to come in and step on anyone's toes. He wants to ease the transition into the pro game. Doesn't want to necessarily come in guns a-blazing, which is understandable, but once he gets more comfortable, folks, look out. The Mayhem victorious in the draw. Ortiz, his stick fails him, but he managed to get it into the Birmingham zone at the very least. Half minute remains. The horns sounding loud here at the Macon Centreplex. Been rattled around the end wall in the Macon zone. Cannon Piper. And it bounces up on him, flutters up in the air, and Danny Caesar tracks it, tries to clear it. Gets it out as far as the blue line, but not out of the zone as a wrist shot misses the right post. Turnaround bid there by Piper, still the lone goal scorer. The Bulls hoping to change that, won't be able to do it. The Mayhem have held on for a 4-1 victory here on Disco Night. Excellent atmosphere here at the Macon Centreplex, and the team thrived. Hosting the Birmingham Bulls, a well-rested team, the second best team in the SPHL last season, according to where the way the playoffs ended. A very tough opponent, and the Mayhem certainly came out to play tonight. After a disappointing exit in the shootout yesterday, the Mayhem have redeemed themselves for the second consecutive weekend. Almost a carbon copy of what happened last weekend. A loss in extra time, followed by a supreme defensive effort the following game, and a regulation win against a strong opponent. Last Saturday's victory came against another Alabama team, the Huntsville Havoc, this Saturday against Birmingham. The Mayhem, as it stands right now, unless the Fayetteville game is over, are in first place in the SPHL. And I'm checking the out-of-town scoreboard update. Fayetteville will win, so the Mayhem's first place reign over the SPHL will last all of 2 minutes, but it was glorious while it lasted. Fayetteville, of course, after they win their game in a couple of minutes, they've got a 5-1 lead, will improve to 3-0-1, 7 points in the standings. The Mayhem with 6 at the moment. A 2-0-2 record have extended their point streak to 4 games. The 3 stars of the game will be announced momentarily here. The team's longest point streak was 13 games, so still obviously a long way to go to reach that. Back in 2016, the Mayhem's championship season in the first half of the year from October 29th to December 9th. But the Mayhem, almost a third of the way to that. They can string together several more games in which they get at least a point. Nothing that we've seen from them so far would suggest that that's not possible. Great atmosphere here on Disco Night tonight, and the 3 stars of the game being announced right now. Kevin Etma certainly deserved one tonight. I think maybe even could have been a higher star than 3, but well deserved, one of tonight's 3 stars of the game. Kevin Etma stopping 35 of a possible 36 saves. The best game he's played in a Mayhem uniform. Daniel Perez, another goal. His second game in Macon. He's already got 2 goals and an assist. He has wasted no time asserting his dominance. I said it in the pregame report. By the end of the first period yesterday, he looked comfortable. By the end of the second, he looked dominant. He did again tonight. And finally, Marcus Ortiz with a pair of goals this evening. He's been all over the score sheet. He was all over the score sheet tonight. 2 goals, 4 penalty minutes, several scoring opportunities that he created for himself and others, and is now the team's leader in points, or I beg your pardon, in goals, rather. Marcus Ortiz with 4 goals on the campaign and 5 points. Steven Pirog, I believe, tied with Ortiz with 5 points on the season after we get all the stats fixed on Monday morning. 4-1 the final score here at the Macon Centreplex on Disco Night. We've had a blast from start to finish. The Mayhem looked extremely sharp tonight, taking down one of the better teams in the Southern Professional Hockey League by a convincing 4-1 final score. From start to finish, just a complete effort. The team dug in. All 3 keys of tonight's game were completed to perfection, taking advantage of the bus legs and the rust on Birmingham's part. Remember, folks, they did not play last night. The Bulls had yesterday off, which they had the opportunity to use to their advantage in terms of the rest, but the Mayhem used it to their advantage and took advantage of the rust factor. They took advantage of the bus legs. It's a 4-hour haul from Pelham, Alabama to here. The Mayhem knowing full well that trip is not easy, having just made it a couple of weeks ago. And they took advantage of the bus legs in the first period and got on the board first. Carried a 2-1 advantage into the second period, which they would not concede that lead again for the rest of the game. Jarrett Cupp scoring in period 2, becoming the first Mayhem defenseman to score a goal this season. And then it was capped off by a goal scored in the third period by Macon's Marcus Ortiz, his second of the game. Unassisted strike by number 14, giving the Mayhem a 4-1 lead, which they would hold on to until the very end. It was their largest lead of the season so far. Every game, for the most part, was close until this one. The Mayhem really pulled away towards the end. Shots on goal, however, were very close. Ended up being 37-36 in favor of Macon. So obviously, a huge night in net tonight for Kevin Entma, who's made 35 of a possible 36 saves. His best game, I would say, in a Mayhem uniform. His save percentage, I believe, after this weekend's over, should be at the top of the SPHL. Right now, he trails only Chase Perry of the Pensacola Ice Flyers. We hope you enjoyed the broadcast tonight, folks, on SPHL Live, powered by Endeavor Streaming, and on YouTube. We know you enjoyed the outcome. One more time, the Mayhem with 4, the Birmingham Bulls with 1. The Mayhem will travel up to Central Illinois to take on the Peoria Rivermen next weekend on November 1st and November 2nd. I most likely will not be traveling to that trip, I'm afraid. So the call will belong to Andrew Mossbrooks, the Peoria Rivermen broadcaster. You can tune into him by listening in on SPHL Live. The following weekend, the Mayhem turn around and host the Peoria Rivermen in what is certain to be a black and blue series, which will last exactly 4 games, 2 in Peoria, then 2 here. So it'll be a long 4-game stretch against the defending Coffee Cup champions, the Peoria Rivermen. They had the best regular season record last year, but were upset in the first round of the playoffs by the Roanoke Rail Yard Dogs. One last out-of-town scoreboard update, and we'll let you folks get going. Roanoke ultimately falling 5-1 at the hands of the Fayetteville Marksmen. Huntsville now up 4-2. They got an insurance lead in the middle stages of the second period, and Evansville still trailing by a 2-goal margin at the hands of the Rivermen up at the Peoria Civic Center. That'll be a home-and-home series. The Peoria Rivermen will travel down to southern Indiana to take on the Bolts tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. So Sunday morning, tilt between those two rivals will take place tomorrow. Till then, we hope you've enjoyed the broadcast tonight, folks. Again, we know you enjoyed the outcome. 4-1 the final in favor of Macon. We look to have you on board next weekend as the Mayhem travel up to Peoria to take on, so far, the undefeated Rivermen. Till then, so long, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your weekend.